This is a world overrun by strange beasts. All of humanity's advanced weaponry is completely ineffective here. Just over 100 years ago, humankind finally mastered the long-sought-after technology of spatial transportation, and opened a transportation portal. However, what no one could have ever imagined was, the spatial transfer channel has been open ever since, and it can't be closed. The first humans transported to that other world immediately became the bottom of the food chain. Fortunately, human life force is very tenacious. Soon, the first human who devoured a strange beast appeared. Gradually, they discovered that after eating the strange beast's meat, their originally weak bodies, it would result in an incredible evolution. Even their lifespan could be extended. This news drove all humans who had not yet been transported to the other world crazy. Over the course of more than 100 years, more and more humans began to enter this other world, known as God's sanctuary. Gradually, more humans discovered that hunting strange beasts had a certain chance of obtaining beast souls. Beast souls could provide humans with unexpected help, greatly increasing their combat strength. Over more than 100 years, humankind finally mastered the secrets of genes. As long as they continue to evolve, humans can even truly ascend to become gods. The protagonist's name is Hansen. Since childhood, Hansen has been full of longing for the god sanctuary, but this wasn't the reason he entered the sanctuary. Immediately after reaching the league's required age of 18. On the contrary, he was very aware of the dangers within the sanctuary. This is what led him to make this decision. It was because his father suddenly passed away. His mother was in poor health and unable to work. He also had a younger sister who needed money for school. At just 18 years old, he became the pillar of his family. Hansen, as a high school graduate with no other skills, working at a shelter to earn money was the best choice. Danger is often accompanied by opportunity. Hansen randomly teleported to a shelter, called the Steel Armor Shelter. This is one of the countless shelters of the gods. Suddenly, a man in armor walked past him. Hansen enviously thought to himself, "Is that an armor-type gene soul? I wish I could get one too." Just as Hansen turned a corner, a completely white beast met his gaze. Hansen was startled. Immediately, he drew the seven-headed spear hanging from his waist. Aiming for the beast's weakest point, he thrust it forward. The next moment, a poof was heard, and Hansen's spear. The spear accurately pierced through the skin of the exotic beast. At the same time, a bit of blood sprayed out. The once lively street suddenly fell eerily quiet. At that moment, Hansen was shocked to see the exotic beast, which had been completely white just moments ago, suddenly transform into a human girl in front of him. A woman? Is this a human? Cold sweat poured down Hansen's forehead uncontrollably. At this moment, the crowd around him all closed in. Wow! This guy actually dared to touch Qin Xian's butt. Ha ha ha. This kid doesn't know about beast soul fusion transformation, does he? Looks like we're in for a good show. Hearing Qin Xian's name, Hansen only felt like he had been sentenced to death. No matter how ignorant he was, he still knew that the most powerful woman in the entire armor shelter was Qin Xian. Damn! That person actually dared to poke Qin Xian's butt. What a total but maniac. Someone in the crowd immediately started talking to Hansen. You've given yourself quite a loud title. You've got a lot of nerve. How dare you stab my butt? As Qin Xian's angry shouts echoed out, Hansen was immediately surrounded by a group of strong men. Hansen couldn't help but show a frightened expression. A foot was ruthlessly placed on Hansen's leg. Hansen hadn't reacted yet. Bao Jing fell to the ground on his knees. At this moment, Qin Xian, furious and ashamed, shouted at everyone. From now on, inside the ironclad sanctuary, anyone who is with him or helps him will be my enemy, Qin Xian's enemy. With Qin Xian's words falling, Hansen's miserable life began. A month passed in the blink of an eye. By a small creek near the steel armor shelter, Hansen was furiously attacking a black beetle. Soon, a notification sound appeared in Hansen's mind. Black beetle hunted successfully, no soul obtained. Consuming the flesh may randomly grant up to 10 points of gene. In fact, this was already the number of black beetles Hansen had slain. The 30th odd black beetle, because he lacked the ability to hunt other creatures. For the past month, Hansen could only continuously hunt black beetles to obtain genes. However, eating the same creature repeatedly would result in diminishing returns on gene enhancement. He'd already eaten over 30. Hansen of the black beetle discovered that his genes had stopped increasing at 0 out of 100. His ordinary genes had been stuck at 79. At this rate, how long would it take for him to complete his first evolution? Hansen thought helplessly to himself. He had been hoping to hunt slightly stronger alien beasts. However, I couldn't even defeat the weakest primitive level beast, the copper-tooth beast. I couldn't believe it. In fact, I almost got killed outright. In the end, I was lucky to escape with my life. I spent half a month recovering. Only then did I return to the sanctuary of the gods. If I could find a few people to team up with, even hunting primitive level creatures would be possible. It shouldn't be a big problem. It's a pity because of Qin Xian. Thinking of this, Hansen felt that his future was shrouded in darkness. All his ambitions had turned into delusions. Just when Hansen was feeling disheartened, a dazzling golden light caught his attention. It was a golden black beetle that Hansen had never seen before. He didn't think any more. Hansen drew from his waist his 7-headed spear and stabbed at the golden black beetle. Quickly, the golden black beetle was completely killed by Hansen. Hunt successful. Hunting the godblood black beetle yielded a godblood beast soul. Consuming the flesh may randomly grant godblood genes, up to 1 point. A sudden sound echoed in his mind. Hansen was almost shocked into fainting with joy. God blood level creature. God blood level beast soul. How is this possible? The moment Hansen saw the god blood beast soul appear, his heart was pounding wildly. Hansen felt like he was dreaming. You have to understand, based on its characteristics and rarity, the mutated beasts are divided into 4 levels, and divine blood is the highest level among them. In the entire steel armor base, few people possess a divine blood beast soul. What kind of beast soul could this be? Hansen immediately ate all the flesh of the divine blood black beetle, leaving only a little of the hard shell uneaten. This divine-blooded black beetle has increased Hansen's divine blood gene by 7 points. After eating it, Hansen immediately checked the attributes of the divine blood beast soul, divine blood level. It turned out to be an armored type of beast soul, with a mysterious crystal hidden inside. I didn't expect my wish to be granted so quickly. I need to fuse with it right away. With that thought in mind, Hansen immediately summoned the divine blood black beetle beast soul. The next moment, countless golden lights instantly wrapped around his body. The golden light quickly transformed into a gorgeous set of armor. Hansen felt an immense surge of power throughout his body. Even his body felt much lighter. He walked up to a large rock. Hansen lightly threw a punch. The next moment, the giant stone in front of him was completely pulverized. Feeling the explosive power coursing through him, Hansen finally felt a glimmer of hope. Back in his room at the steel armor shelter, Hansen immediately began to boil the shells of the blood-black beetles he hadn't eaten yet. He patted his round belly. He thought to himself, although he was already at his limit, he absolutely could not waste this soup. Once he finished this soup, he was sure he could grow even more of the divine blood genes. Suddenly, Hansen seemed to remember something. He pulled out a mysterious crystal from his chest. This crystal was precisely the one Hansen. The mysterious crystal was accidentally discovered inside the divine blood black beetle. Just as Hansen was intently examining the crystal, a figure suddenly rushed forward and took the crystal away. When he turned around, he realized that it was the green-scaled beast in the iron cage. It used its tongue to snatch the crystal. The green-scaled beast immediately absorbed the crystal into its body. Damn it! You actually swallowed it. Spit it out right now. After seeing this, Hansen immediately cursed at the green-scaled beast in the iron cage. However, after swallowing the gold stone, the green-scaled beast lay on the ground, motionless. Just as Hansen was starting to wonder if it had already died, the green-scaled beast remained completely still on the ground. He suddenly stood up. Then his body rapidly expanded several times. Under Hansen's shocked gaze, the green-scale beast's body burst directly out of the iron cage. Without the cage's restraint, the green-scale beast immediately lunged at Hansen. Just as the green-scale beast was about to bite Hansen, at the crucial moment, Hansen's dagger struck directly into the green-scaled beast's throat. The originally ferocious green-scaled beast instantly collapsed to the ground, ceasing all movement. A reminder appeared in Hansen's mind. Hunt successful. Hunting the primitive level green-scaled beast did not grant a soul. Hansen, upon hearing the reminder, a look of doubt immediately appeared on his face. Clearly, this green-scaled beast was an ordinary level mutant beast. Why did it suddenly become a primitive level one? Could it be because of that mysterious crystal? Hansen suddenly recalled. Could that blood god black beetle also have become a blood god level because of that crystal? Thinking of this, Hansen immediately used his seven-headed axe to dig out the mysterious crystal from the green-scale beast's body. Looking at the crystal in his hand, a crystal that could change his life's trajectory, Hansen didn't mind the blood and flesh on it, and immediately put the crystal to his mouth and kissed it several times. On the other side, outside Hansen's house on Roga Star, at this moment, 4 people are causing a scene in front of Hansen's door. These 4 people are none other than Hansen's own family. Aunt number 2 shouted loudly at Hansen's mother, "Russell Lawn, our Han family won't bully a widow like you. Everything that should go to Big Brother, you've already taken it all. But don't even think about monopolizing the old house." As soon as the game was mentioned, Uncle immediately chimed in. "Right. The old house was originally our parents' inheritance. As their children, we should all have a share. You've already lived there for many years. You've taken full advantage of it. It's time to divide the inheritance." At this time, Hansen's second aunt said again, "I've already asked people to inquire." Hansen's second aunt. "According to the current housing prices on Loga Star, second aunt, you either give us both families a redacted, unclear audio/text. Then this old house will be yours." Luo Sulan, after hearing this, "You also know our family's current situation, Luo Sulan. How could we possibly come up with 200,000, and if we sell the house, we won't even have a place to live." However, Hansen's uncle, Han Lei, simply doesn't care about their plight as a widow and orphans. He coldly pointed at Sulan and shouted, "It's no use saying anything else. I'll give you 1 month, either pay up or sell the house. Otherwise, we'll see each other in court." After making his threat, Han Lei left with the other 3 people. When Hansen returned home after leaving the detention center, he learned about what had happened today. Hansen angrily thought to himself, when Dad was still alive, these bastards' tens of millions in bad debts were all paid off by Dad. Later, Xinyu Group wanted to swallow up our family's company. If Dad hadn't stepped in for that relative, he wouldn't have fallen out with Xinyu Group. And how could he have died so mysteriously? Seeing his mother and sister cry, Hansen quickly comforted them. "Mom, don't worry. I've already asked Lawyer Zhang. We'll find a way to solve the house issue. You take care of Xiao Yan. Comfort your mother." After Hansen rested at home for a night, the next morning, he boarded the train to the transmission station once again. Sitting on the train, Hansen heard the announcement from the train's loudspeaker. Councilman Hemingway yesterday hunted the demigod-level bloodline creature, Ocean Star, becoming the first human to hunt a demigod-level bloodline creature. Hearing this news, Hansen thought to himself, with that mysterious crystal, evolutionaries, transcendence, and even demigods were no longer a dream. Although I currently possess the divine gene, it's still unrealistic to achieve the perfect divine gene in the short term. However, it's quite promising to first elevate the basic and mutated genes to level 1. That's more achievable. With that in mind, Hansen decided to head to Falling Wind Valley to hunt a creature where he could both enhance his genes and earn some money. Soon, Hansen was teleported into the shelter world. He arrived at Luofeng Valley. Within this Luofeng Valley, a type of primitive creature frequently appears, called the swift-winged mantis. Because the swift-winged mantis is extremely fast, the nearby grass grows wildly. If one is struck by a suddenly appearing swift-winged mantis, I'm afraid you'll be crippled, if not killed. So without a good beast soul armor, few people would choose to hunt the swift mantis here. Suddenly, Hansen's gaze sharpened. He discovered in the distance, in the grass, there was a green swift mantis quietly lying there. Wow! This color, lying in the grass, is like wearing camouflage. The moment he saw the swift mantis, Hans gripped his weapon and charged. "You're mine." However, just as Hans rushed close, the swift mantis, which had been lying still in the grass, upon discovering the danger, immediately leaped from the grass and attacked Hans. Faced with the sudden turn of events, Hansen, lacking combat experience, was immediately struck on the head by the mantis' swift slash. With a sharp, screeching sound of metal clashing, Hansen only felt a slight discomfort in his head, but there were no signs of injury. Hansen felt an overwhelming joy in his heart. The divine blood beast soul armor is terrifyingly powerful. No longer holding back, Hansen picked up his weapon. He attacked the Gale Mantis once again. Soon, a prompt sounded in Hansen's mind. Hunt successful. Hunted a primitive level Gale Mantis. No beast soul obtained. Consuming flesh and blood may randomly grant primal genes until 10 o'clock. After killing this windstorm mantis, a large group of windstorm mantises immediately rushed over. However, at this moment, Hansen, with the power of the blood armor, stood still, not dodging or avoiding. He allowed the windstorm mantises to slash at him. The next moment, the sound of countless metal collisions immediately rang out. A feeling of invincibility rose instantly in Hansen's heart. Soon, a series of successful hunt prompts sounded. At this time, at the entrance of Luofoam Valley, a young boy was shambling over. Oh! I'm so unlucky. Why did I randomly get assigned to this awful steel armor shelter? I don't even know anyone here. Otherwise, with the help of my family, my various genes will quickly improve. That man is Qin Xian's subordinate, Su Xiaoqiao, a rich second generation, or rather, a rich third generation, Su Xiaoqiao. But it's not bad to be under the spell of a beautiful older sister. When Su Xiaoqiao thought of her boss, Qin Xian, the originally resentful expression on her face unconsciously broke into a smile. I must find a mutated creature in Falling Wind Valley, so that Sister Qin Xian will praise me. Thinking of this, Su Xiaoqiao took a step forward, striding into Falling Wind Valley. But soon, Su Xiaoqiao scratched her head and stopped, because it was just too strange. She had been walking for so long. I haven't even seen a single common swift mantis here. He wondered to himself, could it be that someone led a team to clear out the creatures in Falling Wind Valley? It doesn't look like a large group just passed through, though. Carefully examining the tracks on the ground, Su Xiaoqiao thought to himself, but when he saw the blood around him, he wavered in his thoughts. Because one person simply couldn't have done this. Suddenly, Su Xiaoqiao's pupils constricted. Behind a huge boulder, there stood a man in golden armor, standing on the corpses of countless whirlwind mantises. Su Xiaoqiao shook his head again to confirm. After making sure there was truly no one else around, Su Xiaoqiao couldn't help but step forward and ask, Big brother, did you hunt all these Gale mantises by yourself? The man in golden armor before him, upon hearing this, calmly said, Want some? 1,000 levicoins each. At this time, Hansen, under the armor, thought to himself, I unintentionally killed too many. This is completely impossible to finish. What Hansen didn't expect was that right after he finished speaking, the plain-looking young man in front of him suddenly shouted excitedly, Are you sure? 1,000 left coin each. He immediately took out his wallet from his pocket. He pulled out 50,000 left-hand coins and handed them to Hansen. Big brother, these windstorm mantises are worth 50,000. Anything extra, consider it a deposit. If there are any good items in the future, I'm willing to pay a high price for them. Hansen, holding the left-hand coins, said unexpectedly, So you're a rich guy after all. Tell me your name and room number. Once I have something good, I'll naturally come find you. Su Xiaoqiao immediately replied, My name is Su Xiaoqiao. My room number at the steel armor shelter is 1 to 46. What should I call you? And what's your room number? Hansen immediately turned and left after hearing this. He walked away while casually shaking the left spin coin in his hand. He said, My name is Gold Coin. Gold from Gold Coin. I only recognize this thing. In the future, if there's anything good, I'll come find you anytime. We'll meet again. Upon hearing the name Gold Coin, Su Xiaoqiao happily thought to herself, So his name is Gold Coin. What a great name. No, I can't address a master by name. With that thought in mind, he immediately shouted loudly at Hansen's departing figure. Brother Bai, I'll be waiting for you to find me. You have to come, alright? After leaving, Hansen arrived at the copper-toothed beast's lair. The current Hansen was no longer the same as before. Facing the one who once beat him back home, Hansen had been lying in wait for the bronze-toothed beasts for half a month. he immediately began a massacre. One after another, successful hunt notifications for bronze-tooth beasts appeared. Soon, Hansen was standing on a primitive-grade bronze-tooth beast. He thought to himself, I impulsively killed all the swift mantises last time. This time, I must capture one alive. I'll take it back and cultivate it using the mysterious crystals. After capturing a primitive-grade copper fawn beast alive, Hansen continued to hunt a few more. A prompt appeared in Hansen's mind. Hunt successful. Hunting a primordial copper fawn beast has yielded a beast soul. The moment he saw the beast soul appear, Hansen immediately smiled with delight. He tried to summon the beast soul of the copper-tooth beast. The next moment, a spear appeared in Hansen's hand. After trying to swing the spear a few times, he thrust it forward. A huge rock in front of him was instantly pierced through. Seeing this, Hansen immediately showed an excited expression. He was very satisfied with the power of the spear. After retracting the beast soul, Hansen, along with the primitive, copper-tooth beast, returned to the steel armor shelter. Just as Hansen reached the gate of the shelter, a group of people riding mounts charged out from inside. Someone in the crowd immediately exclaimed, "Look, aren't those people from the God Heavenly Sun's faction? So many of them are mobilized at once. What big move is this now?" Just as the Divine Sun passed by Hansen, he suddenly stopped. The Divine Sun fiercely lashed his whip across Hansen's shoulder. Caught off guard by the sudden attack, Han Jie didn't even have a chance to react. He didn't expect this lunatic would attack people at random. Who is bold enough to sell him? A primitive-level creature. The Divine Sun shouted loudly to the crowd around him. At that moment, the crowd immediately started discussing. Did you know? This guy is the hothead who poked Qin Xian in the butt. The Divine Sun is Qin Xian's #1 suitor. This butt-obsessed freak is in trouble now. Who would still dare to have any contact with him after this? Seeing that no one in the crowd responded, the Divine Sun, who didn't want to waste time, shouted to everyone, "If I find out that someone sold something to him, I'll make sure they die a horrible death." After throwing out those harsh words, the Divine Sun immediately rushed toward the outside of the sanctuary. "But demon, you're lucky today. We happen to have an urgent matter. Otherwise, I would definitely give you a good lesson. You'd better pray you don't run into me again." Luo Tianyang, one of the confidants of the Divine Sun. As he passed by Hansen, he scoffed. Watching this group of lunatics walk away, Hansen thought to himself quietly, "I must use the crystals to quickly enhance my strength. I'll let you guys jump around for a while. I will avenge this grudge sooner or later." 3 days later, inside the shelter's room, Hansen made a cage from a special metal. The appearance of the copper-toothed beast inside the cage had already changed. Hansen thought to himself, although its fur now has a bronze-like sheen, it's still far from the mutated copper-toothed beast. It seems that evolving from a primitive creature to a mutated one isn't as simple as ordinary creatures evolving into primitive creatures. I can only wait a little longer, but just waiting around isn't the solution. I might as well hunt some primal creatures for money. I can also eat them myself. That'll help increase my genes. I'll max out 10 primal genes first. Just as Hansen was planning his future, the discussion outside suddenly caught his attention. One person gossiping said, "Hurry, go to Sunset Hill. There's some excitement there. I heard a lot of people died there." The other person immediately perked up upon hearing this. "What happened?" The first person excitedly continued, "Don't you know? The 3 major factions of the Steel Armor Shelter have gathered at Sunset Hill, and they're attacking the newly discovered divine blood creature. Let's hurry and take a look. Maybe we'll get lucky and find something." Half an hour later, a golden figure quietly appeared atop a mountain next to Sunset Slope. "It seems like I'm not too late," Hansen muttered to himself. At this moment, on the distant Sunset Slope, a ferocious alien creature is wreaking havoc. Just look at how ferocious it is. It must be a godblood-level creature. The nearby humans couldn't dodge in time, and were instantly sent flying. Upon seeing this, Hansen's face showed a look of shock. This is what a godblood creature should look like. In his mind, the god-blooded black beetle he killed felt like a counterfeit. Just as Hansen was shocked by the ferocity of this god-blooded creature, he saw the god-blooded creature in the distance suddenly raise its golden giant axe and slash towards the God Emperor. Although the God Emperor had a very high genetic completion, And there are also some weapon-type divine blood beast souls, but he still dares not face the axe of this strength-type divine blood creature. When the giant axe swung down, the divine son suddenly exerted force under his feet. In the blink of an eye, his body appeared several meters away. The giant axe struck his mount instead. The next moment, the divine son's mutated beast soul mount. It was cut in half. The divine emperor shouted angrily upon seeing this, "Damn, my mutated beast soul mount. I'll make sure to kill you." However, the encirclement that had been barely formed became disrupted because of the divine emperor. A gap suddenly appeared. The divine blood creature seized the opportunity. He immediately charged out through the gap. Upon seeing this, the divine emperor reached out with emotion. The next moment, a green arrow appeared in his hand. When Qin Xian saw the arrow, a serious expression immediately appeared on his face. He saw the divine emperor summon once again a mutated beast soul longbow. The green arrow is knocked on the longbow. When the longbow is fully drawn, the green arrow transforms into a streak of light, flying towards the divine-blooded creature. By the time the divine-blooded creature senses the danger, there is no time left to dodge. The green streak of light, easily, he pierced through the body of that divine blood creature. "You dare to kill the mount of my divine son, how could I leave you alive?" The divine son spoke proudly. As he spoke, he secretly glanced towards Qin Xian's direction. After seeing Qin Xian show a momentary lapse of focus, he inwardly smiled with satisfaction. However, just at that moment, a yellow figure appeared in the sky. In the stunned expressions of everyone, it directly pierced into the already dying divine blood creature's head. A prompt that made Hansen ecstatic sounded in his mind. Hunt successful. Hunt of the divine blood and bloody slayer. Obtain the divine blood beast soul. Consuming its flesh and blood grants divine blood genes up to 10 points. Just as everyone was stunned, wide-eyed in shock, a golden figure suddenly dashed past them. In the blink of an eye, it appeared beside the fallen divine blood creature. It quickly scooped up the golden giant axe that had fallen to the ground. The golden figure wielded the golden giant axe. He ran straight into the mountains. And brother Su Xiaoqiao in the crowd, upon seeing this, couldn't help but let out a cry of surprise. However, after hearing the name, Brother Bai, everyone showed a look of confusion. Who is Brother Bai? Is there such a person in our ironclad sanctuary? The divine emperor reacted. He immediately shouted angrily at the golden figure, "I'll hit you." He then summoned a black armored horse. He quickly chased after Hansen. "Everyone, follow me. Kill that little brat." The divine son, riding his horse, commanded his subordinates. Hansen, who was desperately fleeing ahead, was already feeling the strain. "This golden axe is incredibly heavy. I just saw that divine blood creature wielding it effortlessly. I didn't expect it to be this heavy in my hands. I can see the pursuers closing in." Hansen thought anxiously. "I clearly have 8 divine genes, but even with this axe, I can't even run properly. At this rate, they'll definitely catch up." Soon, Shen Tianzi caught up to Hansen. Shen Tianzi fired a fierce arrow at Hansen. At the critical moment, Hansen immediately summoned the Blood Dweller Beast Soul he had just obtained. The Blood Dweller Beast Soul. This was a fusion transformation type Beast Soul. Fusion transformation type, fusion transformation type. Beast Souls were the most powerful type of Beast Soul, because it directly merges with the human body. If the human's genes aren't strong enough, there could be undesirable consequences. Originally, Hansen didn't plan on using this beast soul, but at this moment, it was clear he had no other choice. After the bloody butcher beast soul was summoned, it immediately rushed toward Hansen, who was wearing golden armor, charging forward. The next moment, Hansen's body underwent a bizarre transformation. In the blink of an eye, he became a bloodthirsty butcher. Hansen thought joyfully, "Heaven truly doesn't close all doors." The transformed Hansen felt his body brimming with power. The golden giant axe, which had been incredibly difficult to withstand, now felt much lighter. With a movement of its 4 legs, the body that was about to be struck by the divine Son of Heaven suddenly leaped forward several meters. Hansen spread his legs and desperately ran. In just a few breaths, he had already put some distance between himself and the divine Son of Heaven and the others. Looking at the divine Son of Heaven and the others chasing after Hansen, Brother Fist, one of the three major forces of the Steel Armor Sanctuary. Seeing this, he said, "The mountain has winding paths and sharp turns. That person just casually went in. The people from the Divine Emperor couldn't find him at all." At this moment, Brother Quan couldn't help but laugh and said, "He used a one-time Divine Blood Beast Soul Sword, and still didn't get a thing. The Divine Emperor really took a huge loss this time. Ha ha ha." Just as Brother Quan predicted, the Heavenly Emperor and the others hadn't gone deep into the mountains. Before they returned, covered in dirt and dejected. At this moment, Hansen was in a particular corner of the forest, burying the golden giant axe. Because the golden giant axe was a divine blood artifact, the divine blood artifact can't be stored in the void like the beast soul, so he can only bury the golden giant axe for now, hiding it well. Hansen buried the dirt with one hand, while thinking to himself quietly, "It seems my transformation has a time limit. With my current abilities, I can only maintain the fusion transformation for about 7 or 8 minutes. Luckily, I didn't end up fighting with the Divine Emperor and his group. Otherwise, I'd be dead for sure. The beast soul is the foundation of one's life. Selling it would be like killing the chicken to get the eggs. But this golden giant axe could easily be sold for 200,000. Just don't know who would dare to buy it." Hansen stroked his chin, deep in thought. When Hansen returned to the steel armor shelter, it was already evening. From afar, Hansen saw Luo Tianyang leading people, guarding the entrance of the steel armor shelter. They were checking everyone. When Hansen walked in, he was also stopped. Just as a subordinate was about to search Hansen, Luo Tianyang at the front turned his head and said speechlessly, "Why waste time on that good-for-nothing? How could such a loser possibly be a gold mine?" Hearing this, the younger brother viciously shoved Hansen. "Get lost. Don't get in the way here." Hansen, who was shoved away, couldn't help but smile slightly. When Hansen reached the main street, he found almost everyone discussing today's events. "What happened on Sunset Hill? Do you know, Brother B? It's about the Divine Sun being tricked. The Divine Sun was so angry he vomited blood today, all thanks to Brother B. That was a precious, one-time use divine blood arrow. I heard the Divine Sun was so angry he smashed his house." When Hansen heard them calling him Brother B over and over, his face instantly showed an expression uglier than crying, and a more unsightly smile. "I cursed that damn Su Xiaoqiao in my heart. Why that name? Why did it have to be Bai Gu? Now it's become Mu Gu. It's so vulgar." On the other hand, Qin Xian was in a secret room. He calmly said to Su Xiaoqiao in front of him, "If I hadn't stopped the Divine Sun, you would have already been subjected to heavy punishment by them. Tell me quickly, who is Jinbi?" Su Xiaoqiao could only force a bitter smile and said, "I really don't know Jinbi. I've only met him once at Luofoam Valley. Last time, I bought some winged mantis from him, to let the guys have a taste. If you don't believe me, you can ask Xiao Lu and the others. They were the ones who helped me bring back the corpse of the winged mantis." After listening, Qin Xian reluctantly accepted Su Xiaoqiao's explanation. He then said to Su Xiaoqiao, "All right. I'm not here to settle scores with you. I want you to contact Gold Coin. Tell him, I'm willing to pay a high price for the divine blood in his possession, the beast soul, and the divine blood artifact. This is between you and me only. There will be a generous reward upon completion, while the entire sanctuary is searching the world over for gold coins' whereabouts." At this moment, Hansen had already been quietly developing in the wild for quite a few days. Hansen's ordinary genes had reached 91.8/100. His primitive gene had also reached 0. His mutated gene still hadn't increased at all. This is not good. Looking at his attribute points, he thought to himself. Soon, Hansen arrived at a place called Blackwater Pool. He waited a long time, and Hansen finally waited for a crocodile in the pool to surface. Just as he was about to wait for the crocodile to get closer, suddenly a rustling sound came. The sound from the forest made the already very alert crocodile. The diver went into the water. Hansen's gaze turned toward the source of the sound. He saw a young man in tattered clothes, walking toward him. Looking at the young man's fatigued expression, Hansen couldn't help but think to himself, this person's clothes are in tatters, and his expression is quite strange. Could it be that it's been affected by that? Just as the young man was lowering his head and slowly approaching, Hansen quickly spoke up, "Friend, There's an iron-toothed crocodile in that pit. It's best not to get too close. However, when the young man saw Hansen, he suddenly showed a look of surprise. What is this place? Which direction is the glory sanctuary? Hearing the young man's question, Hansen explained faintly, this is the steel armor sanctuary, the Tekris mountains to the north. As for the glory sanctuary you mentioned, I don't know where it is. After hearing this, the young man murmured softly, I've already come this far. Have I already reached the territory of another shelter? The young man suddenly looked up and said coldly to Hans, take me to glory shelter. Hearing the young man's commanding tone, Hans immediately frowned. Then he turned around, pointing in a direction. He said without any courtesy, head south from here. As long as you don't walk too slowly, you should reach the shelter before dark. I still need to hunt, so I won't be joining you. As soon as Hansen finished speaking, he didn't expect a fist to land directly on his back. Caught completely off guard, Hansen turned to chase. He fell directly to the ground. His eye hit a rock, and blood gushed out immediately. Hansen covered his face. Angrily, he said to the young man, what are you doing? However, the young man was rude and unreasonable. He said, just obey me, that's all. Stop talking so much. Take me to the shelter. After hearing the young man's words, Hansen no longer hesitated. He directly summoned the beast soul of the copper-toothed beast. Looking at the beast soul spear given by Hansen, the young man disdainfully and coldly said, the three-stage basic spear technique taught in the integrated education system. What garbage! Even if my beast soul is completely destroyed, you are still no match for me. The young man finished speaking and turned his left hand into a blade. He directly charged towards Hansen's beast soul spear. The moment his hand touched the spear, a look of utter astonishment appeared on Hansen's face. He watched as the beast soul spear, formed from the copper-toothed beast, was effortlessly sliced through by the young man with his bare hands. This is the super gene technique. A look of disbelief appeared on Hansen's face. Hearing Hansen's exclamation, the young man said in surprise, I'm using a supernuclear gene technique, with an explosive power similar to nuclear fusion. So you do have some knowledge. This is something only taught in higher academies. Trash, I'll give you one more chance. Either die, or show me the way. Hearing the young man repeatedly calling him garbage, Hansen's anger immediately surged. He immediately summoned his divine blood armor, and charged towards the young man. Upon seeing this, the young man quickly activated the super core gene technique. After the two figures crossed paths, Hansen was shocked to discover that on his divine blood armor, he actually managed to leave a scratch with his bare hands. After the young man attacked, he was momentarily stunned. Then he immediately burst into maniacal laughter, his gaze towards Hansen, and his armor began to turn greedy. You actually managed to withstand my ice skin jade bone technique. It seems the armor you're wearing is made from a divine blood beast soul armor. Heaven truly aids me, Shuilong Yen. Trash, hand over the divine blood beast soul armor. You are not worthy of such a thing. After hearing Shuilong Yan's words, Hansen immediately kicked at him. However, Hansen's full force kick was actually blocked by Shuilong Yan with his bare hands. The power of the super core gene technique. It was perfectly demonstrated at this moment. Amid Hansen's shocked expression, Shuilong Yan changed from blocking to grabbing with a fierce move. A powerful exertion of force. Hansen's body was immediately thrown towards the ground. Immediately after, following that, Shuilong Yan used his knee to directly strike Hansen's waist. Hansen let out a painful scream. Trash will always be trash. Even with divine blood and beast souls, it's still trash. Shuilong Yan punched Hansen in the back of the head. At that moment, Hansen, pinned under Shuilong Yan, suddenly erupted with immense force. Hansen slammed the back of his head into Shuilong Yan's face. He directly knocked Shuilong Yan flying out. After regaining his freedom, Hansen immediately summoned the bloody cultist beast soul. Seeing this, Shuilong Yan's face immediately showed a shocked expression. He never expected that. This trash in front of him actually possessed multiple godblood beast souls. Before Shuilong Yan could think much more, Hansen's fist slammed directly into his face. After landing the punch, Hansen went berserk, continuing to attack Shuilong Yan's head without stopping. While attacking, Hansen screamed madly, "Who's the trash? Who's the trash?" Ah! Who's the real trash? Only after Hansen's anger subsided, did he realize that Shui Longyan was already completely dead. This guy's supernuclear gene technique is so powerful. Just what is his background? Looking at Shui Longyan's body, Hansen couldn't help but step forward and search him. He wanted to see what kind of background this person, who seemed to be of considerable status, had. Do you have anything valuable on you? He soon found something valuable. After dealing with Shui Longyan's body, Hansen returned home with his spoils. She carefully examined the memory crystal in her hand. Hansen muttering, "This memory crystal is clearly no cheap item. What exactly is hidden inside?" Soon, Hansen used the intelligent machine to read the contents of the memory crystal. When Hansen saw the content, a look of shock immediately appeared on his face. It turned out to be a detailed explanation of the ice jade bone technique, and it even had a live demonstration with a real person. He looked at the beautiful woman in front of him, dressed in revealing attire. Hansen's face flushed red. "Ha ha ha, I'm so lucky. I actually found such a high-level super core genetic technique. I was planning to save up more money to buy one. This saves me a fortune." 3 days later, Hansen, who had cultivated the ice muscle jade bone technique, clearly felt the changes in his body. Not only did my body feel much cooler, but my skin also became much smoother. Even the temperature of my body surface dropped by 2 degrees. It's only 35 degrees now. After completely mastering the ice skin and jade bone technique, Hansen immediately crushed the memory crystal into dust. At that moment, Hansen's phone suddenly rang. After the call was connected, Hansen asked into the phone, "Hello, what's wrong with the madman?" On the other end of the line, the voice immediately replied, "It's been a long time since we met. Let's meet up. Hao and Shueshi are both here. Come down first. I'll drive to pick you up. I'll be there soon." After hanging up the phone, Hansen thought to himself, "The Divine Emperor is still looking for me everywhere. But anyway, no one knows that I am Jin Bai. It's not a big deal to go out and have some fun." Soon, Hansen was sitting in his friend's car. The driver. It's the madman who just called Hansen. His full name is Zhang Danfeng. Zhang Danfeng is Hansen's childhood friend. The two grew up together since childhood. If someone else asked him to go out and play, he might not agree. But if Zhang Danfeng asked him, he would definitely give him that face. Han Hao, who was sitting in the back seat. Suddenly, Han Hao turned to Shueshi and said, "Shueshi, it's a shame you weren't at the ironclad shelter. Otherwise, you would have been absolutely stunned by the scene." Brother Bai just made a quick gesture, and instantly transformed into a creature resembling a centaur. The Divine Emperor and the others could only watch helplessly as he disappeared into the distance. Han Hao couldn't stop praising Brother Bai to Shueshi. The genuine, city brother, sitting in front, after hearing that, felt a little embarrassed. Hansen thought to himself speechlessly, "If you knew that Coin brother was actually my cousin, you'd probably be too embarrassed to speak, much less compliment a beautiful woman like that." But speaking of which, Han Hao was actually teleported to the steel armor shelter too. "I don't care if my aunt looks down on me. I don't want to be related to them either." Now her son is also at the steel armor shelter. What a nuisance. Thinking about my aunt. I'm not going to think about these messy things anymore. You haven't told me where we're going yet. At this moment, Zhang Danfeng slowed down the car. He then answered Hansen, "It's just up ahead. We've arrived." The four of them quickly entered a place called Xinghui Martial Arts Arena. Once inside, Hansen noticed all the audience on the stands are excitedly shouting the name of one person, Tang Zhenliu. Tang Zhenliu. Feeling the atmosphere from the stands, Hansen couldn't help but say to Zhang Danfeng, "So many fans. This Tang Zhenliu's popularity is off the charts." Zhang Danfeng happily responded, "Of course. He was the #1 in last year's God's Sanctuary, 5th place in the space rankings. His name was carved into the Holy Grail, yet Qin Xian, who ranked first in the Steel Armor Sanctuary, didn't even get the chance to enter the Holy Grail rankings." At this moment, a purple beast soul charged toward Tang Zhenliu's body. Looking at that purple beast soul, a look of envy appeared in Zhang Danfeng's eyes. "That is Tang Zhenliu's beast soul, divine blood furious beast. If I had one like that, it would be worth my entire life." After hearing Zhang Danfeng's words, Han Hao replied without hesitation, "What's so special about it? This is nothing compared to Bai Ji's bloodthirsty Julu. Now that's truly powerful." Zhang Danfeng turned around immediately after hearing this and said, "Whether this Bai Goat is strong or not, I don't know. But his divine blood beast soul was stolen from someone else. It's not the act of a hero. How can he be compared to Tang Zhenliu?" Hansen, standing to the side, after hearing this, secretly broke out in a cold sweat. He thought helplessly in his heart, "Madman. Madman, you don't know that the so-called Son of Heaven is actually my enemy. Otherwise, you wouldn't think this way. Forget it. Let's not tell the madman that I'm Baigu for now, to avoid unpleasantness." Half a month later, Hansen arrived at the room in the bottom guarding facility. To his surprise, the primitive level copper-tooth beast that swallowed the mysterious crystal has truly evolved into a mutated level copper-tooth beast. Looking at the mutated copper-tooth beast in front of him, Hansen thought to himself, "Although I could eat it now, and immediately gain some mutated genes, I still need to make some money first. I need to find that kid." On a dark and windy night, Hansen had arranged to meet Su Xiaoqiu at Falling Wind Valley. Su Xiaoqiu looked at the package in Hansen's hand, and excitedly said, "Bai Gu, here's 2 million in cash. That's quite a bit. These dried meats from the mutated copper-toothed beasts are all mine now, right?" Hansen nodded in response. He said, "I won't fool you. Take it." After completing this transaction, Su Xiaoqiu remembered the task Qin Xian had given him, so he directly asked Hansen, "By the way, Brother Bai, you know I'm working for Qin Xian, right? He asked me to pass on a message to you. He wants to buy the divine blood beast soul you obtained that day, and that other divine blood artifact. The price is negotiable." Hansen turned around directly after hearing this. While walking, he said that if she wanted to buy it, she should offer a good price. "If I'm satisfied, I'll naturally consider it." After meeting Su Xiaoqiu, Hansen came to a remote cave, to hunt alien creatures. Not long after, he had collected a whole sack full of alien bodies. Hansen thought happily to himself, "With this divine blood black beetle armor protecting me, these poisonous golden scorpions here can't hurt me at all. I'm going to exterminate them all." Just as Hansen was feeling satisfied with the harvest of his trip, suddenly, a woman's voice echoed from the dark cave. "Gold coins!" The sudden shout made Hansen break into a cold sweat. When Hansen saw who it was, he immediately turned around and tried to escape. Qin Xian hurriedly shouted, "Stop! Carry me out of here." Hansen looked confused, and at that moment, Qin Xian explained, "I was stung by a poisonous golden scorpion. As long as you can carry me out of here, I will give you some money." "Isn't your deal with Su Xiaoqiu all about money?" Hansen knew an opportunity to make money had arrived, so he directly said, "I can carry you out of here, but I want a mutated level beast soul as payment. Also, that mutated poisonous golden scorpion you killed should belong to me." As expected, Qin Xian didn't hesitate for long before agreeing to his request. Soon, Hansen carried Qin Xian to the vicinity of the shelter's entrance. "Here's good. The steel armor shelter is just ahead. You can ask someone passing by to send you back later," Hansen said as he gently set Qin Xian down. After putting down Qin Xian, he immediately reached out to ask for the mutated beast soul. Qin Xian didn't break her word. He directly took it out from his consciousness space, a beast soul, and threw it to Hansen. At the same time, he asked Hansen, "I had Su Xiaoqiu ask you before. Are you selling that godblood beast soul and godblood artifact of yours?" After receiving the mutated beast soul, Hansen immediately said happily, "I'm not selling the godblood beast soul. As for the artifact, 1 mutated beast soul plus 2 million. Qin Xian said unhappily after hearing this, "The artifact can't be taken out of the refuge world. It's too limited. Your demands are too high. A flat price of 60,000 is my limit." After hearing Qin Xian's offer, Hansen felt that the price was already very close to his ideal amount, so he agreed to it. Back in the room at the shelter, he looked at the piles of cash in front of him. Han Jie was so happy he almost burst out laughing. "That's great. Life will be better with this money. I'll take Mom and Yan out to enjoy themselves first." After spending half a day playing with his mother and sister, Hansen boarded the train to Chuansong town. There were many people on the train like him. heading to Chuansong town. Ordinary people can't afford a home teleportation station, so they can only enter through the public large-scale teleportation stations. Sanctuary of the Gods. Every time I take this ride, it's packed to the brim. Hansen couldn't help but complain in his mind. However, just then, the train, which had been running smoothly, suddenly slammed on the brakes. Hansen, too late to react, threw himself directly into a woman's arms. Han Jie instinctively tried to grab something to steady himself, but because of this grab, Hansen's face immediately received a hard blow. It's your butt again. Qin Xian's words trailed off halfway. Hansen also saw clearly who he had bumped into. Hansen shouted in shock, Qin Xian, how are you here? Upon hearing this, Qin Xian angrily said, you're really incorrigible. I thought you were just ignorant, but now I see you're just as disgusting as I thought. Faced with Qin Xian's misunderstanding, Hansen knew there was no way to explain. He could only weakly explain that the air train had made a sudden stop. Many people, like me, lost their balance and fell. It was all a coincidence. After hearing Hansen's words, Qin Xian didn't believe a single word. She was convinced that Hansen was a habitual offender. Just then, the announcement for the train's arrival suddenly rang out. When Qin Xian turned around and got out of the car, she coldly said to Hansen, I won't let you off easily. Aren't you going to the shelter? I'll be waiting for you. When Qin Xian got out of the car, Hansen was shocked to see 2 rows of soldiers standing in perfect formation. They all saluted Qin Xian in unison. He loudly greeted, Station Chief Qin, hello. Hansen's face immediately changed drastically. He held his head in his hands and thought to himself, so this is what he means. He actually is the commander of the transmit battle. Then, in the future, won't he be able to track my movements anytime? My luck really is terrible. When Hansen entered the sanctuary world, he was still thinking about how to deal with Qin Xian in the future. If Qin Xian were to cause him trouble, suddenly, a shout interrupted Hansen's thoughts. Hey! But madman, come here. When Hansen turned around, he saw Luo Tianyang, the Shen Tianzi's #1 lackey, continue saying, what are you standing there for? Brother has a good thing to take care of you. Hansen could tell with his backside that Luo Tianyang calling him over definitely wasn't for anything good, so Hansen quickly waved his hand and smiled, saying, I'll pass. My strength is too weak. I wouldn't be able to help anyway. However, Hansen had no choice but to comply. Luo Tianyang grabbed Hansen by the shoulder, and coldly said, I told you to come, so you come. Where's all this nonsense coming from? Can't do without your generosity. Not long after, a group of dozens of people appeared in a remote forest, near the armored shelter. The Heavenly Emperor is truly thoughtful. He gave us quite a lot of money. They also hunted many primitive creatures, sharing it with us to eat. The outlaws hired by the Emperor of the Gods with his money, said excitedly. Hansen, however, followed them quietly without saying a word. He speculated in his mind what exactly these people were planning to do. The group had been traveling for several days. They stopped in front of a hole in the ground. Luo Tianyang turned around. He spoke to the group of desperados. Go ahead and scout the path. Soon, under Luo Tianyang's command, Hansen and the others entered the hole. The pitch-black environment gave a chilling feeling to their spines. They noticed the group was moving slower and slower. Luo Tianyang cracked his whip and lashed out at the mortals walking behind him. The desperados had no choice but to quicken their pace. Soon after, everyone arrived at the entrance of an underground river. The desperados at the front all stopped in their tracks, turning their heads to look at Luo Tianyang. At that moment, Luo Tianyang walked to the riverbank, raised his hand, and tossed something. In an instant, several inflatable kayaks appeared on the river's surface. Cross the river and head to the cave on the other side. Luo Tianyang shouted to all the desperados. Once the pairs of desperados got on the kayaks and paddled toward the center of the river, Hansen suddenly realized that Shen Tianzi and his few trusted subordinates, it actually stayed by the shore, completely showing no intention of coming over. A bad feeling suddenly arose in Hansen's heart. Sure enough, in the next moment, a monster resembling a jiaolong suddenly surged up from the riverbed. It instantly tore apart a kayak. It has finally appeared. A divine blood creature. The moment the divine emperor saw the monster appear, His face immediately showed an expression of complete control. It turned out, the Divine Emperor simply wanted to use these desperate criminals to feed the monster. Soon, the kayak Hansen was in was targeted by the monster. The moment the monster capsized the kayak, Hansen, who fell into the water, immediately summoned the divine blood black beetle beast soul. He dove and ran away. By the time those desperate fugitives reached the shore, the original group of 30 or 40 people was reduced to only 7. No one knew that there was actually another but-obsessed man, who had long since hidden away. At this moment, Luo Tianyang smiled at the Divine Emperor and said, "Your Majesty, Mo Yuhong is almost full. We should have little risk crossing the river now." As Luo Tianyang had predicted, they waited until the Divine Emperor and the others reached the shore. The monster did not attack them again. Soon, the Divine Emperor and the others reached their destination. 2 giant alien eggs appeared before everyone's eyes. Upon seeing the 2 large eggs, the Son of Heaven excitedly shouted, "That's it. Ha! God blood creature eggs. 2 of them. This time my god gene will increase again." As 2 subordinates carried the god blood eggs, and prepared to return, suddenly, a huge body emerged from the water. Its eyes, as large as lanterns, stared fixedly at the 2 men holding the egg. The 2 men, being stared at from such a close distance, were completely frozen in fear. Seeing this, the Divine Son immediately rushed forward anxiously with his sword. Luo Tianyang and the others also didn't dare to be careless. They summoned their beast soul weapons and charged forward. In just an instant, the Divine Son had seized 2 divine blood eggs, and safely retreated. As the Divine Son was running back, he shouted at Luo Tianyang, "Stop him." The Mo Yuhong had been holding back because it was concerned about its egg in the enemy's hands, so it didn't dare to act recklessly. Now, seeing that the Divine Son of Heaven took the egg and was about to run away, he immediately opened his massive mouth in anger, and started to devour everyone. At this moment, Luo Tianyang swiftly grabbed a desperado next to him, and threw him straight at Mo Yuhong's face. It was clear that Luo Tianyang's methods were extremely cruel, but his method is very effective against Mo Yuhong's delaying tactics. Attack. It's truly very effective. The Son of Heaven, holding 2 divine blood eggs, ran while looking back at the situation behind him. He couldn't help but reveal a smug smile on his lips. "Ha ha ha, got them. These divine blood genes are all mine." Just as the Divine Son was about to run to the cave entrance, suddenly, a golden arm slammed into his face. 2 divine blood eggs immediately flew out, landing steadily in the hands of a man wearing golden armor. After the man grabbed the 2 divine blood eggs, he immediately rushed toward the cave entrance. The Divine Emperor, upon seeing this, gritted his teeth and shouted, "Damn it, it's you again, gold coin. Everyone, follow me. Hurry, kill him." At this moment, Hansen was ahead, running while thinking to himself, "I just quietly swam ashore, and now I didn't expect to get lucky again. What incredibly good luck." Just as Hansen ran to the underground river, a black jade rainbow serpent was staring at him, with fierce eyes. I still have another one." When Hansen turned to look, Shen Tianzi and the others had already rushed over. "Damn it! Run again. This time, let's see how I kill you. The Divine Emperor is coming." The voice came from behind. Fierce divine blood creatures were in front, and the perverted Divine Emperor and his men were behind. At this critical moment, Hansen suddenly had a clever idea. He picked up a Mo Yuhong egg. He threw the egg forcefully at the Divine Son of Heaven. He even said, "Let's each have an egg. Let's team up to deal with this divine blood creature first." When the Divine Son of Heaven caught the egg, he was still a bit incredulous. This despicable gold coin would actually cooperate with him, but when he remembered that these 2 divine blood eggs originally belonged to him, he immediately gritted his teeth and shouted, "There's no way I'll let you have one each. Today, I'll take the egg, and I'll kill you too." After making this fierce declaration, he suddenly realized that the divine egg in his hand had already cracked open. The egg liquid even splashed all over him. The Divine Emperor was completely stunned. Just then, the Mo Yuhong in the river let out an enraged and extreme roar, then immediately went crazy and lunged at the Divine Son. "Jinbi, you damn it, come back." The Divine Son angrily shouted at Hansen. Hansen, of course, didn't listen to the divine son. He even quickened his pace. He desperately ran towards the entrance he came from. Half a month later, Hansen, rubbing his stomach, appeared on the street of the steel armor shelter. On his face, an involuntary, full smile bloomed. So full. I stole the god blood creatures from the son of heaven twice. You must be furious, right? After eating the ink jade rainbow's egg, my divine gene has increased to the point of sweeping everything. My physical condition has also gotten stronger. Just as Hansen was secretly pleased in his heart, a pair of arms suddenly grabbed the back of his collar. You really know how to dodge. He heard Qin Xian. A voice drifted from behind Hansen. You haven't come out for over half a month. Do you think this will make me let you go? The moment Hansen saw Qin Xian, a cold sweat instantly broke out. Soon, the two appeared in a combat room. If you beat me, if you win, I won't cause you any more trouble in the future, Qin Xian said to Hansen expressionlessly. Hansen touched the back of his head after hearing this, saying helplessly, you're almost a full-fledged god gene person. Not only do you have military training experience, but also so many god blood beast souls. How could I possibly beat you? If you want to beat me up, just say so. Even if Hansen could beat Qin Xian, he didn't dare reveal that he was Jinbi, especially when facing Qin Xian. He really felt like he couldn't win. After Qin Xian saw Hansen's fear of battle, she immediately said, we won't use spirit beasts. If you can withstand my verbal attack, we'll call it quits. How about that? After Hansen heard Qin Xian's proposal, he immediately agreed. He was confident that he could withstand the interrogation. Soon, the two of them struck poses, ready for battle. Qin Xian spoke to Hansen. You go first. Qin Xian only uttered 4 words, before a punch landed squarely on his face. He immediately covered his nose and took several steps back. You don't follow the rules of martial arts. Hansen hurried over after hearing this. I'm sorry. I thought it had already started. This time, Hansen truly didn't do it on purpose. He had originally just planned to finish the fight quickly and leave. He didn't expect that with a casual punch, Qin Xian actually couldn't catch it. After hearing Hansen's explanation, Qin Xian prepared to start over. But as he uttered the word start, another punch landed hard on her face. A muffled "ba" escaped Qin Xian's lips, faintly audible. After Hansen punched Qin Xian in the face again, he quickly explained, you said start. I thought it had started. I'll kill you. A roar of extreme rage came from Qin Xian's mouth. He immediately leaped up from the ground, and then fiercely punched Hansen in the face. With just one punch, Hansen's face twisted in pain. He tried to block it, but no matter what, he couldn't withstand Qin Xian's attacks. When Hansen walked out of the combat room, his face was already swollen like a pig's head. Qin Xian kept her word. After delivering 5 punches, she stopped attacking. She didn't throw any more punches. However, because Hansen couldn't defend against her moves, he would still have to continue practicing with Qin Xian next time. This battle made Hansen deeply aware of his shortcomings. After resting at home for a few days, Hansen came to a martial arts gym called God of War. An old man introduced him, saying, we have beginner, intermediate, advanced, and special classes here. We teach boxing, kicking, weapons, and both hard and soft styles of kung fu. Even supernuclear gene techniques can be taught. Hansen seemed to have a purpose already. He directly pointed to an advanced martial art and said, I'll learn this one. When the old man saw the martial art Hansen pointed to, he immediately narrowed his eyes. Evil spirit entanglement is not an ordinary advanced martial art. Does your physical condition meet the standard? Hansen said calmly after hearing this, rest assured. There's 1 million here. Just swipe your card. After obtaining the evil spirit possession technique, Hansen thought joyfully in his heart. Ever since I practiced the ice muscle jade bone technique, my body has become much stronger than before. And my dad mentioned before, that evil spirit possession is particularly effective against women. Once I learn it, I'll be able to deal with Qin Xian. He arrived at the screening room. When Hansen saw the virtual image, his cold sweat poured down uncontrollably. The virtual image showed the old man's real-life demonstration of the evil spirit possession. It was as sleazy as it could possibly be. It was simply unbearable to watch. Hansen couldn't help but cover his forehead, thinking, Dad, oh Dad, I never imagined you were like this, Dad. A few days later, Hansen, looking weak, arrived at the shelter's room. In the shelter's room, Hansen couldn't help but think to himself, after practicing evil spirit entanglement for a few days, I feel like I'm turning into a sleazy uncle. I hope it will really come in handy. When Hansen directed his light towards the copper-toothed beast in the cage, he was pleasantly surprised to find that the originally primitive copper-toothed beast had completely evolved into a mutated copper-toothed beast. Great, let's continue evolving into a divine blood copper-toothed beast, since I don't urgently need money right now. This time, Hansen, I didn't choose to kill the mutated copper-toothed beast directly, to get money. Instead, I let it continue to evolve, until it became a god-blood creature. After an hour, Hansen's figure appeared outside the steel armor shelter, in a forest. He summoned the mutated beast soul he had extorted from Qin Xian last time, out of his consciousness space. Let's first study this mutated beast soul I got from Qin Xian. Hansen thought happily to himself. Then, he immediately summoned the beast soul. When he saw the beast soul in his hand, which was the size of a palm, Hansen was completely dumbfounded. It's a pet-type beast soul. Looking at this tiny little kitten, Hansen couldn't help but doubt its fighting ability. But then he remembered that even a small kitten is at least a mutated level beast soul. If it's just hunting primitive level creatures, it should be fine, right? Thinking of this, Hansen pointed at a primitive level creature in the distance, and said to the kitten, "Kill that triangle-scaled beast." After hearing Hansen's command, the mutated three-eyed cat immediately pounced toward the triangle-scaled beast. Just as the three-eyed cat was about to reach the triangle-scaled beast, the triangle-scaled beast actually showed a disdainful look. He gave it a warning glance. Then, his tail flicked lightly. The three-eyed cat was instantly sent flying back. Seeing this scene, Hansen showed an expression of disbelief. He even started to doubt whether this was truly a mutated beast soul. Hansen grabbed the three-eyed cat by the tail. He thought to himself, I'm definitely being played by Qin Xian. This little thing has no combat power at all. She's really good at acting cute and weak. A pet-type beast soul isn't meant to be for show, right? Sigh. I was hoping it could help me hunt otherworldly creatures. Looks like I'll have to rely on myself now. Thinking of this, Hansen regained his focus. He charged towards the triangular-scaled beast. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. Hansen was in the forest, roasting a piece of delicious alien meat. The three-eyed cat kept meowing beside him, obviously craving the food. It looked like its saliva was about to drip. Hansen couldn't help but cut a piece of meat and put it in front of it. Hansen watched the three-eyed cat excitedly gnawing on a piece of meat. Hansen thought with some doubt, usually mount-type soul beasts or equipment-type soul beasts don't need to eat. If they are injured or damaged, they only need to be recalled to the consciousness space to rest for a while, and they can automatically recover. But this pet-type soul beast, it seems that compared to other types of beast souls, there's something a bit different about it. It actively seeks out the flesh and blood of other creatures. I didn't think too much about it. Hansen stroked the soft fur of the three-eyed cat. He said, although you haven't been much help to me these past few days, you've still brought me quite a bit of joy. From now on, I'll call you Lord Meow. Meow-kun, my original genes are already maxed out. It's going so smoothly. Just as Hansen was playing the piano for Meow-kun the cat, suddenly, a hurried cry for help came from afar. Brother ahead, help me. Help me. The urgent shout reached Hansen's ears. When Hansen looked in the direction of the shouting, he immediately turned around and ran. Don't run, brother. I'll give you money. Whatever you want, I can give it to you. The man behind Hansen shouted anxiously, as he ran. However, Hansen didn't react at all after hearing this. He ran desperately without looking back. Even with money, you need to be alive to spend it. As long as we stop, those wild beasts will definitely crush us into minced meat. After running for a while, Hansen saw a cliff ahead. He rushed toward it immediately, grabbing the vines that hung down from the cliff, struggling to climb upwards. When the man behind saw Hansen had already climbed to safety, he immediately charged towards Hansen. When the man was pulling himself up the vine, he was completely exhausted. He could only plead with Hansen, "Pull me up. Please, brother, pull me up. The ferocious beasts are about to crash into us." At the critical moment, Hansen still chose to reach out and pull the man up. "Oh my God, we're finally saved. Thank you, brother." The man lay on top. He gasped, speaking to Hansen. Hansen, hearing this, curiously asked, "What heinous crime did you commit to attract so many ferocious beasts to hunt you down?" After catching his breath, the man slowly pulled out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket, then lit one for Hansen. The man finally spoke to explain, "Don't mention it. I had been traveling for too long. All the beast souls I had were destroyed. I was starving to death when I found a cub of a fierce beast. That's how the rest of it happened. By the way, what should I call you, brother?" Because the man hadn't seen Hansen, because of that striking golden armor, Hansen directly told the man his real name. He told the man his true name. After hearing this, the man asked Hansen, "Sengu, my name is Lin Beifeng. By the way, how far is it from here to our glory shelter?" After hearing Lin Beifeng's words, Hansen exhaled a puff of smoke. He said faintly, "If you're asking about the steel armor shelter, I know that. Just head towards Ten Fan Tian and you'll get there. As for the glory shelter, I have no idea where it is." After hearing this, Lin Beifeng's face instantly changed. "Steel armor shelter? No way, the shelter is so vast. I actually ended up at a different shelter. But brother Sen, don't worry. Once you take me back to the armored shelter, I will definitely repay you for saving my life. No amount of money is an issue." A few days later, the beasts below ground showed no sign of retreating whatsoever. It seemed like they were determined to kill the one who had harmed them, the sick dog thief. "It's like being dismembered." Lin Beifeng looked down at the pack of fierce beasts below. He couldn't help but shrink his neck. They really have so much patience. How long are they going to stay? Originally, the two of them had planned to leave after the beasts retreated, but the current situation, if we really continue to exhaust ourselves with them, I'm afraid the first one to collapse will definitely be him. Then Hansen said to Lin Beifeng, "It seems we can only climb over this mountain, and go down from the other side. I'm stronger than you. You wait here for me, I'll go up and scout the way." He started climbing the vines upwards. He climbed for a long time. Finally, Hansen reached a small platform made of rocks. When Hansen stood up, he found a huge white bird egg, lying quietly in its nest. His heart pounded uncontrollably. His heart began to beat wildly. Such a big egg. What kind of huge alien creature could lay this? The egg's parents aren't here now. If they suddenly return, the consequences would be unimaginable. I dare not think about it further. Han Jie raised his weapon and stabbed fiercely at the giant egg. A small hole was broken in the egg's surface. Hansen inserted the plastic tube he carried with him into the hole. Then he took a sharp breath. Hansen was so surprised he almost fainted. A reminder echoed in his mind. Hunt successful. Killed Bloodstorm Divine Bird. No beast soul obtained. Consumed flesh and obtained 1 point of Divine Blood Essence. It was actually a Divine Blood creature. Ha ha ha. While the Bloodstorm Divine Bird is still away, I need to quickly drink up this egg juice. The Divine Gene will definitely grow a bit more. While Hansen was enjoying a big meal in the bird's nest, Lin Beifeng suddenly noticed that the beasts below the mountain, for some unknown reason, had all left the area. After waiting for a long time, Lin Beifeng finally saw Hansen return. "Brother Sen, why were you up there for so long? I thought you ran into some danger." When Hansen landed and turned to face Lin Beifeng suddenly shouted, "Brother Sen, are you pregnant? You were fine when you went up there. How did you end up like this coming down?" Han Jie, hearing this, said helplessly, "What nonsense are you talking about? I found the area with the divine blood creatures above. The egg of the divine bird. I left you a cup of egg juice." After hearing Han Sen's words, Lin Beifeng immediately became so moved he started drooling. "Is this real? Is there really such a good thing?" Lin Beifeng didn't think twice. After taking a cup of egg juice from Han Sen's hand, he directly drank it. Sure enough, a prompt sound appeared in Lin Beifeng's mind. Hunt successful. Hunted the divine sparrow. Storm god bird. Beast soul not acquired. Consumed blood and flesh. gain divine blood gene 0.0. Although it might be because there were too few, I didn't receive the divine gene. But Lin Beifeng was still very happy. He tightly gripped Hansen's arm and said excitedly, "Sengu, you really are a great person. I'm already very touched that you're willing to share such a good thing with me. When we get back, I will definitely repay you. If you need help, just let me know." Hansen awkwardly said, "Young Master Lin, my reputation in the shelter isn't very good. From now on, you should try to keep your distance from me." Lin Beifeng, upon hearing this, immediately replied with a serious face, "What do you take me, Lin Beifeng, for? You saved me and treated me so well. How could I not be loyal? If anyone dares to disrespect you, I will definitely make them pay." Hansen naturally wouldn't believe this guy's nonsense. After listening to Lin Beifeng, he casually replied, "All right, let's talk about it when we get back." After returning to the shelter, Hansen teleported directly out of the shelter world. Thinking about his gains this time, Hansen felt incredibly pleased. The Stormbird's egg juice gave me 5 points of divine genes. I now have a total of 18 points of divine genes. I've had some good gains recently. Just as Hansen was thinking he should head home and rest for a while, a figure suddenly appeared before him, blocking his path. Station Master Qin, hello, what a coincidence. The moment he saw Qin Xian, Hansen inwardly groaned. He knew he would probably be entangled by this woman again. "Come with me," Qin Xian coldly spat out 3 words, then walked toward the combat room. He was still annoyed about the loss he suffered last time at Hansen's place. He was very upset. This time, he wanted to beat him up properly. Watching Qin Xian's back, Hansen muttered quietly to himself, "Go ahead, go. I'm not afraid of you." Soon, the two of them arrived at the fighting room. With a serious expression, he thought, "My control over the evil spirit has reached a perfect level. When I deal with him this time, it shouldn't be like last time." He kicked directly towards Hansen's face. "Captain Qin, why haven't you called start yet?" Hansen barely managed to dodge the attack. He shouted anxiously. However, this time, Qin Xian would not give Hansen the chance to ambush him. Taking advantage of Hansen's moment of evasion, Qin Xian kicked out again. Just as Qin Xian's foot was about to hit Hansen, Hansen did not retreat but advanced. He directly followed the momentum and grabbed Qin Xian's thigh. Then, using his arm, he forced her thigh to bend sharply. Qin Xian hadn't reacted yet. When Hansen pinned her to the ground, "Captain Qin, does this count as me winning?" Hansen said with a smirk to Qin Xian. Seeing Hansen like this, Qin Xian immediately became furious with embarrassment. The next moment, a dazzling golden light flickered on Qin Xian's body. The golden light instantly merged with Qin Xian. Qin Xian. Suddenly, she transformed into a golden lion. Hansen saw this and immediately turned to run. The divine blood black armored insect beast soul and the bloodthirsty beast soul were both the signature beast souls of Gold Coin. To avoid revealing that she was Gold Coin, he could only force himself to hold back from summoning the beast soul. "Foul, foul. We agreed not to use the beast soul," Hansen shouted while running. Qin Xian froze for a moment upon hearing this. Then, the giant claw that was originally aimed at Hansen landed beside him instead. "My whole body hurts so much." Qin Xian's strike was truly ruthless, not a trace of girlish gentleness. Hansen, rubbing his aching arm, walked out of the transmission station. Just then, a surprised shout reached Hansen's ears. "Sengu, long time no see." Hansen's face immediately showed a surprised expression. "How did you end up here?" Shue Sisi explained, "I've already passed my coming-of-age ceremony. I can enter the shelter world now." Upon hearing Shue Sisi's words, Hansen couldn't help but sigh. "I see. Time really flies. You'll be growing up in the shelter from now on." Suddenly, a private aircraft the spacecraft docked beside them. A man slowly walked out of the craft. He walked out at a relaxed pace. Then the man directly spoke to Shue Shi. "I already told you, it's better to use the teleportation device at home. Coming to a place like a teleportation station is bound to attract some bored people." Hearing this, Shue Shi quickly grabbed the man and explained, "Fourth brother, don't get me wrong. Hansen is a friend from my childhood." "Hello." Hearing Shue Shi introduce herself, Hansen immediately extended his hand and said. However, the man acted as if he hadn't seen it. He spoke casually to Hansen, saying, "Someone like you is not even qualified to be my little sister's friend. Don't bother her again. Otherwise, I won't be polite to you." After the man finished speaking, he tried to pull Xueshi towards the spacecraft. At that moment, Jiandan calmly looked at the man and said, "Are you talking about me?" After hearing Han Sen's words, the man immediately stopped moving. "It seems like you're quite unconvinced." The man snorted coldly and suddenly stepped forward. His right foot shot out like lightning, aimed fiercely at Han Sen. Han Sen's eyes narrowed. He sneered inwardly, "Evil spirit entanglement. It's an ancestral-level martial art for close-quarters combat." Even Qin Xian suffered a loss. "What are you?" Almost instantly, Hansen's body suddenly appeared beside him. The man's right foot immediately missed the ground. Before the man could react, Hansen had already grabbed both of his shirt collars. Then, he slammed him hard onto the ground. The man immediately screamed in pain. Everything that had just happened had occurred in an instant, so Xueshi didn't have time to react at all. Now that he has reacted, "Sengu, please stop fighting." Hearing Xueshi's words, Hansen smiled and said, "Don't worry, your fourth brother is so strong, he won't get hurt. It was just a simple greeting between men. It's getting late, I should head back. Let's have a meal together next time if we get the chance." After waving at Xueshi, Hansen immediately turned and walked towards the train station. Watching Hansen leave, the man revealed a strange smile. "Is it Hansen? Interesting, really interesting." Watching Hansen's retreating figure, the man revealed a slightly perverted smile. Seeing the man's expression, Xueshi couldn't help but feel a tightening in her chest. "Fourth brother, please don't make things difficult for Sengu. He didn't do it on purpose." The man said calmly after hearing this. "How could I make things difficult for him? He gave me such a big gift. I have to return the favor. Sister, in a few days, invite him over for dinner at our place." Upon hearing her fourth brother's words, Xueshi immediately showed a surprised expression. She thought there was something wrong with her ears. The time had come to evening. Hansen sat in front of the communication device. He logged on to a forum called Polar Night. Recently, he hadn't had a chance to hunt exotic creatures in the mountains. As a result, Hansen had fewer opportunities to make money. He decided to find some business on the forum first. Hansen muttered softly to himself. Although the Polar Night forum isn't an official alliance website, still, there's a lot of recruitment and trading information. Soon, Hansen saw a post by Lin Bei on the Polar Night forum. It was young Master Lin's post. He actually registered under his real name. Amazing! Han Jie thought to himself in surprise. Then he clicked on it to take a look. He found that Lin Beifeng was buying up beast souls and the flesh of mutated creatures. The price was even slightly higher than the market price. After closing Lin Beifeng's post, Hansen quickly saw another post recruiting bodyguards. The requirement is only to be able to deal with 10 original creatures alone. The most crucial thing is the person who posted. He happened to be randomly assigned to the steel armor shelter. It's that simple. Sign up, sign up. Although protecting these rookies while hunting is troublesome. But just one day, in half a month, I'll have 150,000. That doesn't sound bad. After registration, Hansen didn't immediately leave the forum. Instead, he opened the trading channel in the forum. After his original level Beast Soul Spear was destroyed by Xue Longyan, Hansen had been planning to get another Beast Soul weapon. But after all this time, not to mention the Beast Soul weapons, even any other type of Beast Soul, hasn't appeared. After browsing the forum for a while, Hansen really found something good. I actually managed to find such a good thing. The Black Knight Series Alloy Bow, and the Spire Series Alloy Sword. This bow and arrow combination has immense destructive power. If you buy it in a store, it would cost at least 70,000. The post has been up for a long time. Hasn't anyone bought it? That's true. This bow is from the Black Knight series, the Soul of the Apocalypse. Its maximum range can reach 800 meters. It can easily penetrate steel armor within 300 meters. The only drawback is that the archer must have strength that meets the league standard, at least 7.0, to draw it. Someone capable of using this bow wouldn't mind spending a little extra on a used one. With the help of the ice muscle jade bone technique, my strength has barely reached 8.0. I used to practice archery too, but now I only have a little over 1,000,000 left. I wonder if they'll agree. I didn't think any further. Hansen directly sent the purchase request. After sending it, he quietly waited for a reply. He waited for a long time but received no response. Hansen leaned back in his chair. He couldn't help but let his mind wander. Is it because he's offline? Or is it because the money's too little? Sigh. It's a bit absurd to want to buy something like this for just 1,000,000. Just as Hansen was about to give up, suddenly, a notification sound rang out. He actually agreed, and even sent the transaction website directly. Hansen immediately showed an expression of delight. He didn't expect that after trying just 6 times, he would actually get lucky. The next morning, the delivery had already arrived at Hansen's home. After receiving the package, he immediately took out the Soul of Doom and played with it for a while. He pulled the bowstring back with force. Hansen thought happily in his heart. Now that he had the Soul of Doom, the next time he went to steal the God Emperor's divine blood creature, he wouldn't need to risk close combat. After getting the Soul of Doom, the first thing he thought of was actually stealing the God Emperor's, the divine blood creatures. 3 days later, Hansen, carrying the Soul of the Apocalypse, arrived at the steel armor base shelter. When Hansen reached the location agreed upon in the post, he was immediately startled. Hansen couldn't help but feel like backing out. Just as Hansen hesitated whether to leave, a few young people suddenly walked up from the distance. Pointing at Hansen, they laughed loudly. Isn't that the butt maniac? He looks pretty impressive carrying a bow and arrow. Someone in the crowd immediately mocked Hansen. You're not here to apply for the job of protecting those young masters, are you? I think it's more likely that the young masters are here to protect you. Ha ha ha. At this moment, the young man with yellow hair asked again, are you the butt maniac? Hansen said indifferently upon hearing this, if you think I'm not worthy of protecting you, then I'll leave right now. After hearing Hansen's words, the young man with yellow hair quickly said, stay and be my bodyguard. Not long after, the 2 young masters, accompanied by several bodyguards, they arrived in the forest near the steel armor shelter. After several days of training, both of their combat skills had improved significantly. Perhaps because everything had gone so smoothly, they both became somewhat complacent. When they were encircling and hunting 3 primitive-level black-spotted beasts. Originally, the 2 young masters thought they had already dealt with the black-spotted beasts, take them all out. But what they didn't expect was that one of the spotted beasts, after being stabbed, actually lay on the ground pretending to be dead. When the other young master got closer, the beast, pretending to be dead, suddenly leaped up and bit the young master. By the time the nearby bodyguards reacted, it's too late. The black-spotted beast opened its bloody maw, about to bite down fiercely. At the critical moment, an arrow, swift as lightning, shot from afar. The arrow accurately pierced the black-spotted beast's eye. The black-spotted beast let out a scream before collapsing to the ground, completely lifeless. A few bodyguards were momentarily stunned, then hurriedly rushed forward. They frantically stabbed at the black-spotted beast's torso. At this moment, a bodyguard named Lu Feng pointed at Hansen and yelled, you bastard, why are you shooting randomly? You almost hit young Master Qing just now. The other bodyguards quickly echoed, yeah, that's right. It's very dangerous, don't you know? To them, it seemed, what Hansen just did was completely a case of a blind cat stumbling upon a dead mouse. He just got lucky and accidentally hit it. While the bodyguards were accusing Hansen with one word after another, the young master who was just saved by Hansen, he suddenly shouted coldly, get lost. After hearing the young master's words, Lu Feng walked up to Hansen and called out, did you hear that? Young Master Yuan, the butt demon, told you to get lost. Young Master Yuan told you to get lost, did you hear that? As soon as Lu Feng finished speaking to Hansen, the boy with yellow hair, known as Young Master Yuan, immediately rushed over. He grabbed Lu Feng by the collar, and angrily shouted, I told you to get lost. You took the money, so you must guarantee our safety. Qing was just in danger. What did you do? You did nothing. None of you even reacted. Now you're even turning against Wei. The person who stood up was met with harsh words. How shameless. Don't ever let me see you again. After hearing young Master Yuan say this, Lu Feng directly responded without holding back. You can tell us to leave. but according to the contract, you're in breach. You have to pay us the remaining money. A yuan, upon hearing this, immediately grabbed several stacks of cash and tossed them, saying, "Scram, you useless things." Lu Feng, witnessing this, dared not speak out in anger. He knew that the identities of these two young masters were extraordinary. He didn't dare vent his anger on these two young masters. He could only cast a resentful glance at Hansen as he left. He said, "Humph, we'll see." After the group of lazy bodyguards left, Aching walked over, scratching his head. He said to Hansen, No, thanks for saving me earlier." Seeing Aching, Hansen didn't even know his name. Yuan quickly introduced him. His name on the contract is Hansen, and he is using the Black Warrior series Soul of the Apocalypse. The power needs to reach at least Alliance Standard 7.0 to be effective. Only then can it be used properly. I noticed this a long time ago. That's why I chose him as my bodyguard. Aching was immediately shocked upon hearing this. Such a powerful 7.0. It was far beyond what he had expected, originally, in his mind. But Madman is just someone who's ridiculed by everyone, a weakling. I didn't expect his strength to be so high. Aching felt like he was getting to know Hansen again. He kept looking Hansen up and down. At this time, Yuan continued. At least he just now drew his bow and shot an arrow in one go. And the accuracy was extremely high. To achieve this, his strength must be at least 8. He also needs good speaking skills. After Yuan explained it to Aching, he immediately turned around and shook hands with Hansen. He said, "Brother Sen, let's be friends. I might need your help in the future." Hearing this, Hansen felt secretly pleased. Such a wealthy, discerning, and reasonable person is truly a rare find. A few days later, after completing his bodyguard assignment, Hansen bid farewell to them, and returned alone to the steel armor shelter. Just as Hansen reached the shelter's entrance, he was stopped by several people. The leader was none other than Lu Feng, the man Yuan had chased away that day. "But demon, you made me lose so much money. I'm really pissed off. You ruined my good fortune. I'm going to teach you a lesson," Lu Feng said as he pulled out a knife, and viciously stabbed towards Hansen. Watching Lu Feng charge at Hansen with the knife, when the thorn was being thrust, Han Hao, as Hansen's cousin, didn't have the slightest intention of helping. Han Hao was still thinking in his heart, "What a fool Hansen is. You got yourself into trouble, I can't help you." Just when everyone around thought Hansen was about to be in trouble, Hansen slightly tilted his body. He dodged Lu Feng's attack. Lu Feng hadn't even seen Hansen's movement clearly. Before Lu Feng could react further, Hansen grabbed Lu Feng's weapon-holding arm. Then, with a twist, he forcefully wrenched it. Lu Feng was immediately thrown to the ground by Hansen. Hansen even took his 7-headed weapon away. Everyone present widened their eyes at this sight. Their expressions were of disbelief. No way. Lu Feng's physical fitness is 6.7. Han Hao was completely stunned by the scene before him. He almost thought he was dreaming. Just then, Lu Wang, who was pinned to the ground by Hansen, he suddenly shouted, "What are you all standing there for? Quick, kill this bastard." As soon as Lu Feng finished shouting, his arm was forcefully twisted down by Hansen. All of a sudden, there was a loud crack from the joint of Lu Feng's arm. "You have too many weaknesses," Hansen said coldly to Lu Feng. At this moment, Lu Feng's underlings all drew their weapons. They charged at Hansen with their weapons raised. Suddenly, a flash of blade light appeared and disappeared in an instant. The underlings who had just charged forward were instantly shocked and terrified, because they realized their weapons had been mysteriously cut in half. Without knowing what had happened, Hansen looked at the high-grade alloy knife in his hand, that he had taken from Lu Feng. He was slightly stunned. Even he couldn't help but show a hint of surprise. Is this a rare alloy knife from the Jean Steel series? Lu Feng, this idiot, actually used something this good. This knife doesn't come cheap. It must cost around 2 million, right? It's just that I've been lacking a handy weapon. Han Hao, who had witnessed everything from the sidelines, couldn't help but show a complex expression on his face. Is this guy really the Hansen I know? Shouldn't he be unable to even hunt a single primitive creature, and only able to kill black beetles every day? While Han Hao was still in a state of shock, Hansen snatched the dagger from Lu Feng's waist. He turned to leave. Just as Hansen strode towards the shelter's door, a sudden shout reached Hansen's ears. Stop! The one who spoke was Luo Tianyang, one of the Divine Emperor's most favored subordinates. Luo Tianyang, riding his soul beast mount, arrived beside Hansen in an instant. But madman, you've got some guts. You even dare to lay a hand on my men. When Luo Tianyang arrived, Lu Feng quickly stood up, clutching his injured arm. He shouted to Luo Tianyang, Brother Luo. This freak with the crazy but broke my arm, and stole my knife. You've got to avenge me. Luo Tianyang angrily shouted, useless thing. You're only bringing me shame. After saying this, Luo Tianyang raised the long whip, and fiercely swung it at Han Sr. You damn pervert. Today, I'll make sure you know how you're going to die. Just as the long whip was about to strike, Hansen immediately drew his blade of steel and met it head-on. The blade of steel clashed with the long whip. Hansen involuntarily took a step back. Hansen thought gravely to himself, I've heard that Luo Tianyang's physical fitness has reached level 6. It seems the rumors are true. Luo Tianyang, sitting on his soul beast mount at this moment, was even more shocked. He could actually block my whip. When did this trash become so strong? No, this person absolutely can't be left alive. Thinking of this, Luo Tianyang raised his whip again, ready to lash down fiercely. But just then, Hansen instantly knocked an arrow and shot it smoothly. Luo Tianyang, who was targeted by the arrow, immediately stopped the movement in his hand. The intense sense of danger made him too scared to move. The crowd watching this scene immediately let out a series of gasps. Hansen actually dared to face Luo Tianyang head-on. Is the buttocks maniac seeking death? This is Brother Luo. He's the real confidant of the Heavenly Son. At this moment, Han Jie. He couldn't care less about what others thought. Maintaining the bow-drawing posture for a long time was consuming him greatly. Just as Hansen was anxiously thinking about what to do next, a very familiar voice suddenly came from behind him. Hansen, put down your arrow. Luo Tianyang, you put away your whip too. A large group of people marched over. The leader was Qin Xian, who had been relentlessly beating him in the fighting room lately. After hearing Qin Xian's words, Luo Tianyang still held his whip, refusing to put it down. How could he swallow this? No way. Sister Qin, but maniac once showed you disrespect, and now dares to fight me. I must get rid of him. Luo Tianyang had just finished speaking, when a purple light flashed. Luo Tianyang let out a cry of pain, and fell from his beast soul mount. Qin Xian gave Luo Tianyang a cold glance, and said, My people, I will handle myself. Don't mind other people's interference. What are you spacing out for? Hurry up. After Qin Xian said this to Hansen, she walked straight toward the shelter. Hearing this, Hansen quickly followed. When Qin Xian and the others had walked far enough, Luo Tianyang's subordinates finally dared to whisper. Qin Xian said that the demon is one of his people. So that's her type. Looks like it's love at first sight. Inside the steel armor shelter, Qin Xian called Hansen separately to an empty hall. Hansen asked Qin Xian in surprise, What? You want me to join the Divine Archer group? I won't go. Hansen didn't think twice before rejecting Qin Xian's proposal. Although joining Qin Xian's faction would offer him protection, it would also come with many restrictions. After hearing this, Qin Xian coldly said, You've completely offended Luo Tianyang today. Without my protection, do you think he'll let you off? Upon hearing Qin Xian's words, Hansen still said nonchalantly, Thanks for your kindness. I will take care of my own matters. In the entire steel armor shelter, I am the only one with the sharpshooter squad. If you stick with me, it will be beneficial for your future military academy exams. Qin Xian said to Hansen, frustrated and exasperated. She couldn't quite understand. Inside the steel armor shelter, countless people are desperate to get into the elite sharpshooter team. Why is it so unbearable for Hansen? Hansen turned his head and said, Who said I wanted to go to military academy? Besides, my physical fitness isn't even up to par. There's no chance of me getting in. Hearing Hansen say this, Qin Xian said with a smile, This standard is difficult for ordinary people, but for you, this is nothing. Hansen couldn't help but shiver slightly upon hearing this. What do you mean by that? Qin Xian smiled and continued. Although you seem like a weakling, your actual strength is quite impressive. I don't care how you got stronger. I only want to recruit useful talents. Hansen was slightly taken aback upon hearing this. You want to recruit me? Then, what about that thing I did to you earlier? Aren't you angry about it? Hearing Hansen's response, Qin Xian immediately became furious. Don't ever bring that up again. You didn't attend a military academy, nor do you have a noble title. Once you reach the age for military service, then I can only be an ordinary soldier. There's no future for me at all. How do you know I can't get a noble title? Hansen couldn't help but show a confident smile. He secretly thought to himself, as long as I keep cultivating that mysterious supercore gene technique, and then obtain the divine blood gene through the crystal, noble titles can be easily obtained. Just as Hansen was fantasizing about the future, Qin Xian grabbed the collar of Hansen's shirt. She angrily said, I told you, you can't get it, and you won't. Do you want to try? After hearing Qin Xian's words, Hansen immediately backed down. Alright, I'll join the Shin group. He is really worried that Qin Xian might be plotting against him on purpose. Qin Xian has military influence. If she wants to target Hansen, it would be very easy for her. After this brief episode, Hansen returned home through the teleportation array. Lying in bed, he was still thinking whether Qin Xian had some kind of conspiracy against him. Just then, Russell knocked on Hansen's door. Hansen, I have something to do tomorrow and need to go out. Could you please help take Yeonyeon to school? Hearing that his sister had gotten into St. Hua, Hansen immediately smiled happily. Apart from the noble schools, the best school on Logas is St. Hua. It's much better than my integrated education school. Mom, you go ahead and get busy. I'll take my sister to school tomorrow. Early in the morning, Hansen brought Yeonyeon to the gate of Shenghua Primary School. At the entrance of the primary school, he saw from afar a familiar figure walking towards them. Then Yeonyeon whispered to Hansen, brother, that person looks like Uncle too. Who are the child he's holding and the aunt next to him? Hansen almost laughed when he heard that. This is clearly accompanying his lover, to send their illegitimate child to school. Unexpectedly, they bumped into them so coincidentally. At this time, Han Lei also saw Hansen walking towards him. And Han Yen. He pretended to be calm and said loudly to Hansen, what are you doing here? Hansen replied lightly, I'm here to take Yeonyeon to school. Upon hearing Hansen's answer, Han Lei handed the illegitimate child he was holding to his mistress. Then, he pointed angrily at Hansen and said, the tuition for Shenghua costs several million. It seems that Big Brother has been secretly taking a lot of money, while monopolizing the company for all these years. I told you that all that money belongs to our Han family. It must be taken out and shared. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Hearing Han Lei's ridiculous words, Hansen didn't feel the slightest bit of surprise. He had long been completely disappointed with his relatives. Hansen sneered and said, second uncle, what else do you want to do to me? Can you read contracts? It's clearly written in the contract. I've already paid the 200,000. None of you can take another cent from my house. After hearing Hansen's words, Han Lei immediately roared, this is fraud. I'll go find your mother later. Han Lei's words. He was abruptly interrupted by Hansen, breaking into a private residence. I have the right to kill you on the spot. Hansen's blunt words immediately angered Han Lei. Han Lei. He stretched out his fist and fiercely swung it at Hansen. Just as the fist was about to land on Hansen, in the next instant, Han Lei's obese body was immediately slammed to the ground by Hansen. Han Lei was both shocked and angry. He had successfully evolved to become an evolver at the second-level mental shelter by using his original genes. But he never expected to be beaten so badly by Hansen, a non-evolved individual from the first-level mental shelter. His illegitimate son immediately burst into tears. At this moment, Han Lei's mistress immediately hugged him, running while saying, son, don't be afraid, I'll take you to school first. I'll call the police to arrest this man. He didn't pay attention to the mistress. Hansen held a miniature camera in his hand, and said to Han Lei, that woman just now was quite pretty. The little boy is cute too. I wonder what heir would think if he saw this. You recorded this? You bastard, delete it now. Han Lei was shocked. He instinctively reached out his right hand to snatch the mini camera from Hansen's hand. However, the next second, Han Lei let out a pained scream. "We're family. Can't we talk this over? As long as second uncle gives me 2 million, I'll delete it immediately." "You wish." Han Lei answered through gritted teeth. After hearing Han Lei's response, Hansen immediately twisted forcefully. The intense pain immediately made Han Lei completely give in. Soon after, Hansen received a transfer of 200,000 from Han Lei. After confirming the transfer was correct, Hansen turned around and headed into the school with Han Yen. Without looking back, Hansen spoke to Han Lei behind him. "Second uncle, I'll delete the video. When I delete it is up to my mood. And don't come to my house to cause trouble again. Otherwise, you'll have to face the consequences." Looking at the bruise on his arm, Han Lei couldn't help but think to himself, when did this kid become so sinister? He's completely like a different person. After sending Han Yen to school, on my way home, I passed a physical fitness testing center. I realized I hadn't been tested in a long time, and I wanted to know just how good my physical condition really was. So Hansen decided to go in and try. At that moment, inside the testing hall, Zhao Boshan had just finished a test. His test rating is level 1. It took 16.67 seconds. He looks at his result. Zhao Boshan is reflecting on his mistakes in his mind, so he can achieve better results next time. Although this result is quite good, he didn't perform well in the final stage just now. If he does it again, he should be able to get level 1. In order to become the captain of an interstellar battleship. Keep going, charge. When Zhao Boshan came back to try again, he was surprised to find that the test room he had just used was already occupied. Someone was actually using it. I have to see who is so good at seizing the opportunity. Zhao Boshan walked straight to the equipment, and chose to pay to watch. When Zhao Boshan saw the image in the room, he immediately showed a surprised expression. He was actually using a beast soul to break through the robot level, but even that's no use. As an unevolved person, being able to rush past 60 meters is passing, 70 meters is good, 80 meters can be considered excellent, 9 meters is already considered advanced, 100 meters is considered super. My test result was 76 meters. This person has the blessing of a beast soul. I estimate that he can barely exceed 8 meters. While Zhao Boshan was guessing in his mind, Hansen in the testing room had already prepared for the sprint. The test begins. The golden figure was like a bulldozer. It charged forward fiercely. Wherever the golden figure went, all the machines that tried to stop it were tossed aside like trash. They were flung away. For ordinary people, a slightly troublesome battle robot couldn't cause any hindrance to this golden figure whatsoever. At this moment, Zhao Boshan was already completely stunned. He saw the test results displayed on the monitor. Zhao Boshan gaped, his face full of disbelief. No way, cleared it in one go, and it only took this little time. Who is this powerful person? At this moment, Zhao Boshan finally realized that the golden figure in the testing room was a big shot among the non-evolved. When Zhao Boshan regained his senses, he found that the testing room was already empty. A few days later, on the streets of the Steel Armor Sanctuary, did you see it? There's a post trending on the internet. A person on the street excitedly said to their companion. The companion paused for a moment. Are you talking about the 7.88 seconds? Violent God crushing the robot passage post? I was so shocked. After hearing their companion's words, the person who started speaking immediately nodded and said, yes, yes. Those are gold coins. It's be God. Inside the seaside villa at this time, Tang Zhenliu wiped the sweat from his body, and asked a young man beside him, Lin Feng, what do you want? I just finished working out. I'm going to take a shower soon. Lin Feng didn't say anything. Directly show him the video footage. Tang Zhenliu immediately screamed after watching it. Damn, 7 seconds 88,555 rating. Who the hell is this guy? Lin Feng replied calmly upon hearing this. The cameraman didn't see his true face, but based on my analysis, his genes, aside from the divine gene, ordinary genes, the original genes and the mutated genes are almost identical. He has also mastered a decent supernucleus gene technique. The authorization he used is also at the God blood level. With just this video clip, Lin Feng managed to figure out nearly all of Hansen's major trump cards. At this moment, Tang Zhenlu was grabbing his hair, irritatedly speaking to Lin Feng. Don't give me that useless stuff. I just want to know who he is. I've finally made it to those perverts. Entering the second divine shelter. If that guy dares to obstruct my top 10 divine child competition this year, I'll have someone take him out. Lin Feng, after hearing this, he said speechlessly, to have such skill, their background and identity certainly won't be simple. It's very possible they're connected to the military. Can you handle them? After hearing Lin Feng's words, Tang Zhenliu immediately smiled faintly, awkwardly saying, Ahem, I was just venting my anger. Don't take it seriously. Lin Feng didn't continue to pay attention to Tang Zhenliu's words. He furrowed his brows and fell into deep thought. Which side is it from? Such power. It's enough to influence the entire situation of the first base. You need to go find Yang Monli right now. Report in and formally join the sharpshooter team. I am going to Xingyu Group to discuss a collaboration. You'd better take care of all the paperwork before I return. Qin Xian said to Hansen with a blank expression. Hansen was immediately taken aback. Xingyu Group? Isn't Shen Xianzi the young master of Xingyu Group? He thought to himself. I wonder what kind of business dealings Qin Xian has with them. My father's death is related to this company. Originally, Hansen wanted to stall a little longer with Qin Xian. He planned to wait until Qin Xian was promoted to the second-level shelter. Then, no one would pressure him to add people to the sharpshooter team. But now he's suddenly changed his mind. Because Shen Tianzi is the young master of Xingyu Group, now Qin Xian is also doing business with Shen Tianzi. Maybe he wants to use this connection. Maybe we can find out the real cause of his father's death back then. Half an hour later, Hansen had completed all the paperwork. In Yang Monli's office. Yang Monli said faintly to Hansen, at 6 a.m. tomorrow, be at the shooting team's training camp at the shelter, on time. Remember, I hate people who are not punctual. As soon as Yang Monli finished speaking, she saw the holographic image next to her, showing Qin Xian's figure. Monli, come to my office now. Bring Hansen with you. Soon, Hansen followed Yang Monli to Qin Xian's office. Watch a video clip. This clip is currently trending on Skynet, featuring the violent god of destruction, trampling the Fanchi human passage. When Hansen saw this footage, he immediately cursed inwardly. Isn't this the footage from the testing center? Which idiot posted this? He actually paid to record it. Then Qin Xian called me over. Could it be that my identity has been exposed? Just as Hansen was secretly making his own predictions, he heard Yang Monli ask Qin Xian, is it gold coins? This violent way of clearing the game is indeed shocking. Has anyone seen his face? Qin Xian, upon hearing this, said with a hint of regret. The person who filmed only recorded this part. They didn't capture his full face. After hearing Qin Xian's words, Hansen, who was standing nearby, secretly let out a sigh of relief. Oh my god, that scared me to death. Thank goodness, thank goodness. Qin Xian continued. This video confirms that Jinbi possesses a divine blood-level beast soul armor. He also cultivated some kind of super-nuclear gene technique. Most importantly, the location in the image has been confirmed to be our Luojia Star's physical fitness testing center. Qin Xian turned to Yang Monli and said seriously, find a way to find him. This person is very useful to us. That's great. We are just one step away from fully evolving into a divine-blooded being. After returning from Qin Xian's office, Hansen went straight to the shelter's home. He looked at the mutated copper-tooth beast in the cage. The next morning, Hansen arrived on time at the sharpshooter's training base. When he walked into the base, many people had already started training early. Hansen was surprised to find that there was someone he recognized among them. Su Xiaoqiao, you're also in the sharpshooter team, Hansen said to Su Xiaoqiao in surprise. However, Su Xiaoqiao turned around, and with a puzzled look, asked, but demon, how do you know me? After hearing Su Xiaoqiao's words, Hansen was startled. He almost forgot that he had been using the identity of Jinbi to contact Su Xiaoqiao. Hansen immediately said, who doesn't know that at Luoripo, you were the first to shout, Brother B? Su Xiaoqiao smiled triumphantly after hearing Hansen's words. Immediately, he smiled triumphantly. That's right, if it weren't for me, Brother B wouldn't be so popular now. Why did you join the sharpshooter group, brother? The training here is very tough. Hansen immediately replied after hearing this. I don't know if it's tough or not. Anyway, I think bows and arrows are long-range weapons. We don't need to fight up close and risk our lives. Hansen's words perfectly coincided with Su Xiaoqiao's inner thoughts. Su Xiaoqiao suddenly felt a sense of, I wish I'd met you sooner. Then he pulled Hansen aside and whispered, be careful here. That woman, Yang Manli, is a sadist. That's quite perverted. Hansen immediately nodded seriously after hearing this. Just as the two of them were happily discussing Yang Manli, suddenly a chilling voice reached their ears. What are you two doing? When the two of them nervously turned around to look, it was indeed Yang Manli. They stood behind them. Soon, Yang Manli gave Su Xiaoqiao and Hansen a task. When Su Xiaoqiao heard Yang Manli's task requirements, she immediately covered her head and exclaimed, 7.0 bao, 100 arrows per person. How could this possibly be done? However, Yang Manli didn't care at all about what Su Xiaoqiao said. He coldly glanced at Su Xiaoqiao and Hansen. He said, leave when you're finished training. Anyone who slacks off will face the consequences. After Yang Manli left, Hansen quietly advised Su Xiaoqiao, don't be so discouraged. He's not here anyway. We can just practice casually. Hearing Hansen's, Su Xiaoqiao immediately excitedly grabbed Hansen's arm. You're so naive. He'll have someone watch us constantly. It's not counted if someone crosses the line. An arrow that doesn't hit the target doesn't count. Every shot must count, no exceptions. Hansen, upon hearing this, sympathetically patted Su Xiaoqiao's shoulder. He said, then let's take it slow. It's a good thing if a man can last longer. When Hansen and Su Xiaoqiao started shooting arrows, a few members of the sharpshooter team passed by, and said with schadenfreude, Xiaoqiao, buttocks maniac, you guys just stay here and practice archery. Tomorrow morning, we'll go hunt the god blood creatures. Such good things have nothing to do with you. Divine blood creature. How come I didn't know about this? Su Xiaoqiao widened her eyes and hurriedly asked. At this moment, someone from the sharpshooter team, who had a relatively good relationship with Su Xiaoqiao, stopped in their tracks. They explained, it was discovered by the Divine Sun and the others. They asked us from the Steel Armor Regiment to help. Upon hearing that person's words, Hansen suddenly understood everything. It seems that Qin Xian's meeting with Xingyu Group earlier was for this matter. Just as Su Xiaoqiao was talking to the young man, a cold snort suddenly interrupted them. What's with all the nonsense? Hurry up and continue practicing. The speaker was Lu Hongtao, the deputy head of the sharpshooter group. Upon hearing Lu Hongtao's instructions, the other members of the sharpshooter group immediately left the place. Seeing Lu Hongtao was also about to leave, Su Xiaoqiao quickly smiled and pulled out a stack of money, handing it to him. Deputy head Lu, can you help me tell team leader Yang? Also, ask him to take me along tomorrow. However, Lu Hongtao directly threw the money on the ground. Stop trying that on me. What do you think the sharpshooter team is? After saying this coldly to Su Xiaoqiao, Lu Hongtao immediately turned around and said to Hansen, and you, don't think just because you're here on Captain Qin's behalf, you can do whatever you want. Our sharpshooter team doesn't tolerate useless people. Captain Yang's orders are clear, all the arrows must be shot. Otherwise, you can't go anywhere. Lu Hongtao left after saying that. After Lu Hongtao left, Hansen helplessly said to Su Xiaoqiao, we can't slack off now. Looks like the sharpshooter team is really strict. Upon hearing Hansen's remark, Su Xiaoqiao immediately replied angrily, strict my ass. Lu Hongtao has taken my money plenty of times. After saying this, Su Xiaoqiao suddenly lowered his voice and whispered, brother, I think that Lu guy is definitely targeting you. He's interested in team leader Yang. Normally, he's just a sycophant. He probably realized that team leader Yang is very unhappy with you. That's why he's deliberately making things difficult for you. Hansen felt speechless upon hearing this. He stopped thinking about it. Hansen picked up the bow and directly drew it fully. Su Xiaoqiao, looks like I've dragged you into this. But don't worry. Tomorrow, we'll go hunt the divine blood creatures. It's already decided. As he said this, Hansen released the string of his bow. The arrow flew as if it had a tracking system, directly hitting the bullseye 15 meters away. Su Xiaoqiao's mouth instantly dropped open, her face full of disbelief. So it was me, the clown. Hansen fired arrow after arrow, a frenzied barrage without pause. Although not every shot hit the bullseye, they all landed very close. Seeing this, Su Xiaoqiao couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, "Wow! A rapid-fire barrage! And his accuracy is so high. Bro, you really are hiding your skills, huh?" At this moment, the members of the archery team, who were training nearby, also gathered around to watch. "Oh my god, is this the hand speed of someone who's been single for 3 years? Am I seeing things? Is this still the weak, chicken-chasing freak? It seems like he has always used his right hand to draw the bow without switching hands. His strength doesn't seem to have weakened at all." At this moment, young Manli, who was secretly watching Hansen shoot arrows from upstairs, also showed a hint of surprise on her face. "It seems like he really has some skill. It looks like Qin Xian picked the right person. But whether he can make it in the archery team still depends on his luck." Finally, "I've finished shooting." Su Xiaoqiao weakly knelt on the ground. Hansen rubbed his slightly sore arm. He said to Su Xiaoqiao, "Go clean your wounds and rest. Don't delay tomorrow's work." Su Xiaoqiao's spirits lifted after hearing Hansen's words. Excitedly, he grabbed Hansen's arm and said, "Brother Sen, you're amazing. If I were a woman, I would definitely fall in love with you." Hansen trembled slightly after hearing this. He said disdainfully, "It's a good thing you're not a woman. But speaking of which, we still don't know what kind of godblood creature we'll be hunting tomorrow. What preparations should we make? What preparations should we make?" After hearing Hansen's words, Su Xiaoqiao immediately smiled triumphantly. He. "Don't worry. I already investigated during the day. There's no information in this world that money can't buy. Yang Manli's assistant told me. Tomorrow's target is a flying divine blood creature. Few in the Heavenly Sun's forces can shoot arrows. So, that's why they came to our Steel Armor Squad's sharpshooter team for help." Upon hearing this, Hansen fell into deep thought. Flying god-blooded creatures are hard to target. Ordinary alloy arrows are completely ineffective. If we can't even pierce the skin of that god-blooded creature, then even if there's a chance to take advantage of it later, we won't have the means to seize that opportunity. We need arrows containing F-steel. Thinking of this, Hansen teleported back to his home on Loga Star that night. After browsing for a long time, Hansen finally found a merchant's post on the Polar Night Forum's trading channel. He found a merchant's post. "This arrow looks good. The price is reasonable too." Soon, Hansen appeared in a red light district. In the narrow alley, Hansen stood at the agreed location and waited for a moment. Suddenly, a person in black appeared at the doorway nearby. He waved at him. That must be him. Seeing this, Hansen immediately followed and asked, "Are you the one buying arrows?" The man in black had a slightly hoarse voice. It gives off a very mysterious feeling. After seeing Hansen nod, he immediately opened the box in his hand. Inside, the Igong arrow was crafted with great precision. The hoarse voice spoke again. "I forged it by hand myself. You can try it first. If you're satisfied, then pay me." Hansen was not polite either. After hearing the words of the man in black, he immediately took out the black steel arrow from the box. He held it in his hand and examined it carefully. Soon, Hansen took the steel cutting blade and asked the man in black, "Can I try cutting with it?" The man in black glanced at the steel cutting blade in Hansen's hand and sneered, "Is it one of the steel cutting series knives? Heh, go ahead and try." Having received the black-clothed man's permission, Hansen immediately raised his steel cutting sword and slashed down at the end steel arrow fiercely. After the steel cutting sword struck the end steel arrow, Hansen was surprised to find that the surface of the Z steel arrow didn't even show a single scratch. "But my own steel cutting blade was chipped. Good stuff. I'll take it." Soon, the two completed the transaction. Early in the morning, Qin Xian arrived at the gate of the steel armor shelter with her sharpshooters. At the main gate of the steel armor shelter, Qin Xian, "I hope we can have a pleasant cooperation this time, to take down that divine blood creature." Qin Xian and Shen Tianzi shook hands symbolically. Suddenly, Luo Tianyang grabbed Han Sen's arm and said, "When did the marksman team start taking in such trash?" Hearing Luo Tianyang's words, Qin Xian immediately coldly replied, "I think I already told you, he's one of mine. Looks like your memory isn't very good." At this moment, Shen Tianzi stepped in. Smiling, he pulled Luo Tianyang aside and said, "Tianyang, what are you doing? Don't make things difficult for Qin Xian." After hearing this, Luo Tianyang could only mutter a curse at Hansen under his breath. Good for nothing, relying on women for protection. Soon, the group assembled and immediately charged towards the depths of the mountain range. We've been traveling straight for over 10 days. The main force finally stopped at a cliff. It's right here, the Heavenly Emperor loudly said to everyone. He then turned to Yang Manli and said, Team Leader Yang. This time, I'm counting on your sharpshooting team, so I've prepared a little gift for you. 100 Starfang arrows with 1% Z-steel content. Feel free to distribute it among your subordinates. Speaking of which, Shen Tianzi pointed at Hansen and said, except for this useless one. Upon hearing this, Yang Manli immediately spoke up for Hansen, saying, why can't we give it to him? He is also a member of our archery team. Shen Tianzi smiled and continued, so he's a member of your archery team, so what? I provided the starburst arrows free of charge. This wasn't written in the contract. I should have the right to decide who uses them. Seeing the Divine Emperor's firm attitude, Yang Manli turned around, and said to Lu Hongtao, go get the top 5 performers from the last test. Give each of them 20 starburst arrows. Our arrows are no worse than the starfire arrows. We don't need them to distribute the starfire arrows. Luo Tianyang clapped his hands. He addressed everyone. Everyone, stop standing around. Quickly take your positions according to the plan. Elite team members, take your positions first. Right next to Hansen. While Su Xiaoqiao and I were choosing our positions, we suddenly heard Luo Tianyang pointing at us, and snorting coldly. You two are not elites, right? Stay at the back. Hearing Luo Tianyang's words, Su Xiaoqiao angrily said, Luo, don't push your luck. Hansen tugged at Su Xiaoqiao and said, it's fine. Let's go over there. We're not short of this. Once Hansen and Su Xiaoqiao found a good spot, they quickly set up an ambush. Immediately below the cliff, a long, dragon-like roar echoed. Damn, what was that terrifying sound? Su Xiaoqiao let out a cry of surprise. The next second, someone shouted loudly. The bloodline creature has been driven out by Commander Qin and his team. My god! It's a purple feather scale dragon. A gigantic creature, its entire body covered in purple scales, was seen, quickly flying out from under the cliff. Everyone, listen to my command. Shoot down the purple feather scale dragon. Yang Manli seized the right moment, and issued an order to all the archers in the group. In the next moment, countless arrows struck the purple feather scale dragon. However, these arrows failed to cause any harm to the purple feather scale dragon. Even its wings, which appeared as fragile as paper, remained completely unharmed. Su Xiaoqiao looked on in surprise. She exclaimed, these Starfang arrows don't seem to do any harm to him. No wonder the Divine Sun gave our archery team so many Starfang arrows. His body feels harder than steel. Hansen was drawing the Yitong sword from its sheath, while speaking to Su Xiaoqiao. Unless it hits his eye, the Starbitter arrow will only serve as a distraction. Hansen had already drawn his bow and notched an arrow. He aimed at the purple feather scale dragon, but he didn't rush to shoot. Because for him, there was only one chance. Once it's shot, it's gone. It must be a fatal shot. Su Xiaoqiao exclaimed upon hearing Hansen's words. She immediately let out a cry of surprise. No wonder the Divine Emperor had so many people ambushing here. He wanted to distract the purple feather scale dragon. Then Su Xiaoqiao's words trailed off. She suddenly stopped, because at that moment, she had already seen the Divine Emperor holding a bow and arrow. You are mine, beast of divine blood. The arrow in the Son of Heaven's hand immediately flew towards the purple-feathered scaled dragon's wing. The arrow, like a black lightning bolt, pierced the purple-feathered scaled dragon's wing. The purple-feathered scaled dragon let out a pained cry. Yang Manli was not to be outdone. He immediately summoned a blue-white beast soul, a longbow and a beast soul arrow. Aim at the divine-blooded creature and shoot an arrow directly. A flash of blue light appeared. The arrow shot by Yang Manli also pierced the wings of the purple feather scale dragon. Its wings were injured, and it couldn't fly far. Chase after it. Divine Emperor, upon seeing that the purple feather scale dragon's flying ability was severely compromised, he immediately gave the order. Those with mounts quickly summoned their beast soul mounts. They started chasing after the direction in which the purple feather scale dragon was flying away. Damn it, I don't have a beast soul bow and arrows that can be reused, nor a beast soul mount. They'll definitely get there first. As Hansen was running while complaining, a familiar shout suddenly came from behind him. When Han Jie saw who it was, Hansen immediately showed a surprised expression. He didn't expect that Qin Xian had just driven the purple feather-scaled dragon out from the bottom of the cliff, and had already caught up so quickly. Just as Hansen was lost in thought, Qin Xian had already reached his side. Quick! Give me your hand. Seeing Hansen get onto Qin Xian's soul mount, Su Xiaoqiao hurriedly called out to Qin Xian, "Squad leader Qin, take me with you." "How's Manli doing? We've been chasing for a long time." Qin Xian finally caught up with the main group, bringing Hansen along. The Divine Sun saw Hansen sitting on Qin Xian's beast soul mount. A murderous intent immediately flashed in his heart. At this moment, Yang Manli spoke to Qin Xian. "That divine blood creature has flown to the mountaintop. It's too far away. Even with a beast soul arrow, it would be hard to cause him any more harm. What should we do now?" Qin Xian stared at the divine blood creature on the mountaintop and said, "We must find a way to climb up and kill it, or drive it down. Otherwise, once its body fully heals, all our efforts will be in vain." Then someone said, "This mountain is too steep. If we climb halfway, that divine blood creature suddenly attacked us. Then we'd have no way out but death." Suddenly, the divine emperor shouted, "At a time like this, do you really want to give up? Anyone who goes up there will get an extra share of meat when we divide it later. Seems fair, right?" Upon hearing the words of the divine emperor, some individuals who valued money more than their lives were immediately stirred. "Let's do it this way. Hurry up. Those who want a larger share of the meat, come with me right now." After Qin Xian shouted to everyone, she immediately began climbing toward the mountaintop. Hansen, seeing this, quickly followed. Soon, everyone climbed to the top of the mountain. The purple feather-scaled dragon, seeing people climbing up, immediately attacked the few humans near it. Everyone quickly found cover behind obstacles, and used their bows and arrows to shoot the purple feather-scaled dragon. Qin Xian shouted to everyone. The purple feathered-scaled dragon was hit by several arrows again. He could no longer focus on killing. Flapping his bloodied wings, he turned and flew towards a higher mountain peak in the distance. Hansen saw this, and immediately pulled out the soul of the apocalypse. He aimed at the purple feathered-scaled dragon. The purple feathered-scaled dragon was severely injured. So many people are shooting at him now. He should be close to his limit. He can use the steel arrow next time. Just as Hansen was drawing his bow and knocking an arrow, preparing to wait for the right moment to shoot, the old trickster, God Emperor, suddenly appeared from behind him. At the same time, God Emperor summoned a transformation-type beast soul. The divine son of heaven in the air immediately transformed into a massive, black-furred giant ape. Its palm slammed forcefully onto Hansen's back. Hansen was instantly sent flying off the cliff. Fortunately, at the crucial moment, Hansen reached out and grabbed a rope, stabilizing his position. "Luckily, my physical condition has improved a lot now. Otherwise, my bones would have been shattered. That sneaky Shen Tianzi actually ambushed me." Just as Hansen grumbled and climbed back to the top, he discovered that the battle had reached its most intense moment. The purple feather-scaled dragon was being attacked by Qin Xian's golden lion and Shen Tianzi's black-haired giant ape, surrounded in the middle. The next moment, the golden lion bit down on the purple feather-scaled dragon. The black-haired giant ape's fists came crashing down on the purple feather-scaled dragon's head. Suddenly, Qin Xian cancelled her beast soul transformation, and summoned her superior divine blood beast soul. She shouted loudly, "He's at the end of his rope. Give him the killing blow." At the same time, Shen Tianzi also reverted his transformation. He stabbed at the Ziyu Linlong with his sword. After receiving 2 fatal blows, the Ziyu Linlong burst forth with its final power. A powerful force instantly sent Shen Tianzi and Qin Xian flying. They were flung away. It looked like the purple feather-scaled dragon was about to die. Hansen finally drew his only Z-steel arrow. On the other side, the divine sun hastily summoned his beast soul bow and arrow, intending to deliver the killing blow. The next moment, 2 arrows, like 2 bolts of lightning, shot towards the purple feather-scaled dragon. One black arrow directly struck the purple feather-scaled dragon in the wound on its neck. Instantly, the entire arrow was buried inside. Hunt successful. Hunting the divine blood creature, purple feather scale dragon. Obtained a divine blood level beast soul, purple feather scale dragon. Consume the purple feathered scale dragon's flesh, and you may randomly gain up to 10 points of divine genes. A sound of a successful hunt suddenly appeared in Hansen's mind. Hansen's heart immediately skipped a beat. Quickly, tell me if you got the beast soul. Shuntianzi grabbed Hansen by the collar and shouted angrily. Hansen dared not tell the truth. He insisted he hadn't obtained anything. After dealing with the purple feather scale dragon's corpse, everyone returned to the steel armor shelter. Qin Xian immediately called Hansen to her office. Hansen, tell me the truth. Did you or did you not obtain the purple feather scale dragon's beast soul? Beast souls belong to the hunter who kills the beast. That's the established rule. If I get it, I'm willing to pay to buy it. Just name your price. Hearing Qin Xian's words, Hansen pretended to look gloomy. He said, I really didn't get the beast soul. If I had money, would I not want to earn it? I only shot that arrow because I was in a desperate situation at the time. Who would have thought that he would be shot dead in an instant? Looking at Hansen's expression, which didn't seem like he was lying, Qin Xian thought to herself, maybe he's telling the truth. Beast souls really aren't something that can be easily obtained. Thinking of this, Qin Xian seriously said to Hansen, don't run around outside recently. If the Divine Emperor kills you, don't blame me for not warning you. After Hansen returned to his room in the shelter, he showered and laughed maniacally. A divine blood purple feather scale dragon, flying type soul beast. Such a rare soul beast. There are probably only a few in the entire first shelter. Ha ha ha. I've really struck it rich this time. By the time Hansen finished his shower and walked out, his peripheral vision caught sight of the mutated copper-toothed beast that had swallowed the crystal. The mutated copper-toothed beast's body had completely undergone its transformation. Realizing this, Hansen immediately showed an excited expression. Damn! The copper-tooth beast of god blood level has evolved into a god blood creature. My god, this mysterious crystal is amazing. In just 3 months, I've nurtured a god blood creature. Qin Xian and the Divine Emperor, they spent over a decade, and their god genes weren't even full. At this rate, I'll achieve my goal in 5 years at most.